Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to No Leak Wednesday, unfortunately, because our goat is recovering. Everyone give your spirit energy over to Gege Akutami. I heard if you hit the like button, that's just one prayer sent over to Gege. But but I've got the man, the myth, the legend himself here with me today. I got Broken Ronan. Hold on. I think they can't hear you right now. Hold on. Good. OBS might be doing that thing where I have to change. Okay, try talking now. Nope. Alright, I don't know what's going on. Alright, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me switch this up. I'm just gonna the chat, just no music, unfortunately, today. That's fine. It is what it is. All right. Okay, now you can go ahead. Feel free to speak your mind.
I'm free now. I've been unsealed. What's up, chat? What is up, chat? What is up, chat? Hope y'all are doing good on this fine Wednesday evening. Like I said, I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you, Noah. I'm locked in. I'm ready to talk about Sakamoto Days and JJK for a hopefully very exciting stream today.
110%. If you aren't already familiar, Sakamoto Days is finally getting an anime adaptation, and although we are, at least I'm a little worried for it. We're gonna do our best to try and keep the spirit of Sakamoto Days alive and well. And one of the best ways to do that is to throw it on a randomizer wheel, because those are always fun. I know you guys like those. Now, before we get into it, I think we need to just make some certain things very clear, which is, for one, like how different Sakamoto Days is compared to Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, did these characters even make sense going up against each other? Because as per usual, in cross versus, you always have the people where, oh, these characters don't have curse energy, they can't see curse spirits, or oh, they can't, the age old Bleach question, they're not, they can't see the dead, so the Shinigamis are just invisible to them. There's gonna be none of that, but as far as it goes, before we get into like more like concrete like scaling and stuff, like, do you have any like thoughts or notes that you want to give to Sakamoto Days or Jujutsu Kaisen?
Okay, so I will say this, right? I see, and I say this only because I saw a lot of these types of comments on our like Sakamoto Days versus JJK video, where people are saying that, oh, these characters, don't have curse energy, blah blah blah, domains don't work on them. The way I've always viewed it in terms of addressing these versus battles is that, like, Sakamoto is basically a normal person in his world from like a biological perspective, like existing wise. And because of that, if he's normal and normal characters or normal people, like normal non-sorcerers, just randoms, can get caught in domain expansions and affected, I've always just kind of moved forward assuming that he could, if we felt that we wanted to toy with the idea of him being immune and that comes up as relevance, that's fine. But I've always looked at it as like a domain expansion is more often than not, especially if it's lethal, just a game over for Sakamoto Days characters.
Yeah, 110%. And I think what makes the most sense for people that basically go with what I was saying is, like, we can imagine that most characters from Sakamoto Days are going to be average humans at the very least. You could consider them probably like the peak of humanity. What I would say is that would definitely give them, at the very least, the minimal amount of curse energy, because I know everyone always likes to say no curse energy means you're just like Maki. We're not dealing with a whole group of Tojis here, guys. Just to make everything fair, if there is a character that does have a domain expansion, that is most likely going to be an issue. But what I did is I did my best to cherry pick a lot of these choices to make these matchups as fair as possible. I think, now that I'm looking at it, I think there might only be legitimately maybe one character that has a domain expansion. So
Yep. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting, pretty fair. I think more so than what we did in our video, because that was like a broad strokes thing. We can get into like real specific matchup stuff, which will be interesting and exciting to get into.
100%, 100%. So for starters, just so everyone kind of has a base, as far as it goes, when it comes to like the differences between stats and everything. You do have Jujutsu Kaisen characters, like specifically like Yuji, that are literally just putting craters into buildings by like landing on them and falling on top of them. Yuji's throwing people through buildings. And even like you have grade 1 characters like Kusakabe or Nanami that are like just destroying large structures. Kusakabe is able to fight on par with Sukuna. Sukuna's destroying buildings with ease, stuff like that. Now, Sakamoto Days characters are definitely probably not going to be anywhere near as strong as those Jujutsu Kaisen characters, just because they don't have that curse energy reinforcement. So they're probably not going to be dealing as much damage. But the thing is most characters, if not all of them, are going to be on the same level as Maki, which Maki was grabbing a bullet, which was basically point blank right in front of her face. Sakamoto, which is like probably the greatest feat that we have, is literally just catching a bullet that's literally like from a gun that's planted right next to his ear with a fork, which is just ungodly insane. So while most characters in the Sakamoto wheel are going to be 10 times faster, a lot of the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen are just going to be 10 times fucking stronger. As far as it goes, I think we can go ahead and spin the wheel. We got 15 and 15.
Yep. Let's do it.
But first things first, we have people asking, how was our days? Let's break the ice a little bit. How was your day, Ronan?
My day's been pretty good, man. My day's been pretty good. I cannot complain. It's led me to being very excited for this stream. So yeah, I mean, I'm chilling. I'm doing good, man.
You were thinking about this all day?
I've been thinking about this all day, bro. I've just been thinking, damn, bro, there's no upstream. The highlight of my day, the highlight of the week, bro. You know, gotta really lock in.
I can only hope that my fans love me as much as you do, Ronan. I can only hope that.
Hey, man, that's what we strive for.
All right, we're spinning these wheels. Let's see what happens here. We've got Naobito Zenin versus Shishiba.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay, this is really interesting. It is interesting because Naobito is one of the faster characters, but he's also that's going to be on this wheel, right? But he's also a character that I don't really associate with being particularly durable or really strong. It could in part be because the person he fought was Dagon, who was pretty tough and made like overtime Nanami not capable of dealing that much damage. But I will say that Naobito doesn't strike me. He's no Yuji, right? He's not someone that I'm looking like, damn, bro, he hits you, it's over, it's done. Mm-hmm. So it is very interesting, especially with projection sorcery being the kind of technique that is not just regular raw speed, but a particular hack that allows you to achieve that. And it's weird even for characters that are able to have that level of perception. Maki's able to achieve that through her incomplete kind of awakening, or she's able to just count out the frames, figure out the consistent number, and then react to that accordingly. Shishiba strikes me as the type of assassin that would be, at the bare minimum, like quick-witted enough to, if given the level of like perception speed, deal with that. I will say, for someone like Naobito, it's pretty tough. Obviously, you can say he's like faster than that like early Maki catches bullet, whatever. But you have weird statements in regards to projection sorcery, granted from a probably less competent projection sorcery user, where now he's like, yeah, man, after building up my technique dozens of times, I reach like subsonic speeds, which is like not even bullet tier, which is just really funny. Gege is, gonna be honest, quite hilarious in regards to like how he consistently speed scales. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, and I completely agree with the one thing that you mentioned about Maki basically being able to use her precognition to kind of keep up with projection sorcery. And I guess the big question in regards to that would be, do you think that is because this is pre-awakened Maki, this is before Maki Zenin technically awakened her like extra sensory sight, her hypervision, whatever you want to call it, the ability to see what can't normally be seen. So this is a Maki who's just basically using her normal perception. Now, do you think that if that is the case, since this is Maki who before she technically unlocked what you could consider a precognition or some kind of supernatural ability, is she just being able to pick up on Naoya's speed and Naoya's projection sorcery just because she's fast enough to perceive it? And if that's the case, if we would then give like someone like Shishiba probably similar speed to Maki, then at least in that moment directly, then
Yeah.
then technically speaking, if Shishiba is resourceful enough, he could probably keep up with the projection source. I guess the problem would be because we see Naoya, who is just a lesser version of Naobito, all things considered, at least in this point in the story, is just tossing Maki through, basically the entire Zenin headquarters. He's tossing her in the mountains, and Maki is able to endure that. So I guess the question would be, is Shishiba able to take a beating like that, even if he can keep up with projection sorcery and find some way to, like, you could give him that generosity and say he could somehow counter it with just his perception?
Yeah, so in terms of just having the resources to do so, I don't think there's any reason that someone like Shishiba shouldn't be able to. Maki at that point is just doing it off of literally just seeing it. Her kinetic vision is just good enough to see the individual movements. I mean, granted, it's not to the same extent, but I mean, even Yuji, when he faces Naoya on a first encounter, is able to tell something's weird about the way he moves. Like, it isn't just regular high speed movement or whatever. So I don't doubt that after a few encounters, Shishiba would be able to pick up on that. The main issue that I think you have to grapple with is just, is Shishiba going to be able to deal with it after inevitably getting hit with like a couple of pretty mean hits? Because I'm going to be honest, right? No matter how smart you are, not no matter how smart you are, but for the level of intelligence Shishiba rather, he's going to probably have to take a couple of those hits and to gauge the movements and the abilities in general. Because you also just have to take into account, for the most part, Sakamoto Days characters just deal with people that are really fast, really strong, or really skilled. This is just like another dimension of abilities that they never really encounter. Getting turned into frames and then body slammed at the speed of sound probably is not going to do very well for his stamina or his overall combative ability.
Definitely. And I would definitely say that Naobito in this situation would, because of just overall cursed energy control, something that none of the Sakamoto Days characters are going to have access to, unfortunately, that would just tell me that most of the Jujutsu Kaisen characters are just going to be running on higher stamina bars, just based off the fact that they, like you would agree with me in that sense, right? Whereas the Sakamoto Days assassins are kind of just running off their regular human energy, whereas Naobito and other Jujutsu sorcerers' stamina is probably tied to their cursed energy, right? Uh-oh. Hello?
Oh, sorry. I might cut out, my fault. But yeah, no, 100%. I definitely think that I think that is, I mean, that's just the case, right? It's
Right.
tied to your physical. It's like, Shishiba running a mile, that's all him, bro. No additions, no extra energy sources to pull from. That's why I think maybe if he were to go into it already knowing he'd have a better shot, but I feel like Naobito is going to turn him into a frame like 10 times, and that's just going to be very, very bad damage for Shishiba, because Sakamoto Days characters can't heal, and even if you say it's not to that extent, any amount of real damage that Shishiba takes will be permanent and will be impairing his ability to react, right? So if he gets, frame one, he gets tapped, he tries to respond, gets turned into a frame, body slammed at the speed of sound. Okay, cool. That was weird. And he's not going to immediately pick up on that. I think he's going to get hit with that a couple of times before realizing. And the way I figure it would go down is, by the time he realizes what's going on, he's probably already sustained too much damage to react to it properly. It's kind of like that Maki dilemma where even despite her physical durability and resilience relative to someone like Naoya, even she realizes that the cut on her stomach that she got from Ogi will make a prolonged fight with Naoya a very, very bad idea. So that's just kind of how I see that going down.
Yeah, I completely agree in that. It's just Naobito is also a character that was just when you see him when he's speed blitzing Dagon of all people, he's able to damage Dagon enough to the point that like he breaks through his limbs and like opens up his torso with just a punch. And again, this is a Dagon who with just barely one punch almost killed Maki Zenin and was able to take multiple hits from Playful Cloud with Toji before he actually succumbed to his injuries. So Naobito's definitely hitting Shishiba with enough potential to at least he's hitting him higher than the kind of beating that Shishiba took from Kumanomi in the most recent chapters. And Shishiba was basically on death's door after that fight. So I think we can kind of use that as justification where it's like Shishiba. I mean, how now? I guess the question would be: is do you think it's just Naobito's just taking this fool for his money, or Shishiba's going to be able to put up a decent fight before we cut this one?
I think Shishiba is going to put up a decent fight, but not insofar as Naobito is nearly dying, but insofar as I think the fight would last a long time. You know what I mean? It would last for however long Shishiba can just prolong any lethal damage. Because the way I view it is just he's just getting rammed into, right? Boom, he's already like taken some serious damage. He moves on, and his health bar is just continuously being lowered. I don't think that Naobito has any one attack that's gonna one-shot him or anything, but Shiba also doesn't have the power or ability to reverse that in any way. Like one hit from Shishiba is not going to finish the fight with Naobito, and I think that it'll probably be like a mid-diff fight for him. I think even more so than just the speed, the nature of the technique and being able to turn him into a frame is just going to be the deciding factor. He's just gonna wear him down.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a shame. Shishiba is one of my more favorite characters. I'm sad. I was hoping that we could give him a win, but Naobito's just unfortunate. He's got one of those curse techniques that's kind of tough to deal with on like the normal front.
Yeah, Naobito definitely is an unlucky pull for Shishiba for sure.
So what we're gonna go ahead and be doing is I'm going to remove the winners, and then whoever ends up having the least amount of characters by the end of it is going to be the one who wins the randomizer at the end. So now Bito is going to be taken off the wheel. We'll get him out of there. That way he can't just dust anyone else. So up next, which, okay, this is definitely an interesting one. We've got Nanami Kento, Ronan's favorite character.
Favorite character, man. The strongest in JJK, am I right, chat?
Nanami Kento going up against Taro Sakamoto himself.
Oh, that's not good for him. I fear my favorite character, Kento Nanami, is going to be he's definitely gonna be getting punched in the face really, really quickly over and over and over. I fear that's just his fate. He might be cooked.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it is like where like so again, like Nanami, as we've mentioned, Nanami is definitely, especially when you consider like the 7-3 ability and all of that, like Nanami can do some serious damage to Sakamoto, but Sakamoto is just going to be clearing this man in the speed department without fail. I don't think there's a bone in Nanami's body that's going to be able to keep up with this with this demon, even in fat mode. I just don't see it unless you disagree.
No, I mean, I completely agree. Sakamoto Days characters on average are significantly faster than JJK characters on average, and you know, for all of my posturing, Nanami is really just your average, like kind of middle of the road grade 1. He hits really hard, which is cool. I definitely think if Sakamoto gets like ratio technique, whatever you just got hit with, bro, you say goodbye to it, right? You don't need that anymore. But the thing is just Nanami's speed feats are pretty sparse. You kind of have him fighting Mahito in tandem with Yuji. Maybe that implies a similar speed very early in the series. Outside of that, you just don't have all that much. Like, it's not like Nanami's particularly slow, right? But even if you say that he's just equal to or even, you know, slightly greater than someone like Yuji in speed in Shibuya, you have Yuji having trouble reacting to piercing blood. Like, he's capable of doing it, but it's like he considers it a 50-50 on whether or not he can dodge an attack that moves at the speed of sound. Meanwhile, Sakamoto Days characters like shit out hypersonic attacks for breakfast, right? I mean, you have Sakamoto training by like, let me dodge these ricochet bullets, just to warm up, and it's like, okay, there's high levels of difference of speed, and the big thing that I think comes up in like Sakamoto versus JJK versus battles is the difference in durability. And here's my argument, right? Here's always my point. getting blitzed in JJK, like to the extent that Sakamoto would do to Nanami, is very bad for their ability to resist. Simply because without cursed energy, they're just normal people, right? Or maybe in Nanami's case, he's like a fit normal person. You know what I mean? Within the confines of whatever build you think he has. And I mentioned this in the video we did, but the blood meteorite thing that Choso uses to blow out one of Yuji's organs, Choso just says if Yuji was at all on guard for it, it wouldn't have even pierced his skin, right? Like, they're just, and that's Yuji, by the way, right? Someone who, without any cursed energy, is still superhuman, who can, like, get hit by grade 1 sorcerers like Higuruma and not immediately lose a limb. And he's the type of person that, because he got off guarded by something and wasn't able to properly counter with cursed energy, he just instantly not loses, but he instantly takes massive damage where he otherwise shouldn't have. And Nanami just doesn't have that advantage. In base, he's going to be normal. If he doesn't apply the right amount of cursed energy to the right spot and just gets blitz in the same way that, I'm going to be honest, Sakamoto would actually do, then you just have Nanami kind of getting beat up.
Now, I think an important question, do you think that Sakamoto having like a no-kill clause would like cause any issues? Because obviously Sakamoto, if he's not able to actually do like a killing blow to Nanami, and Nanami with just being able to use his curse energy to try to possibly just reduce most of the damage that actually comes his way. Nanami is swinging with characters like, I mean, he survives Jogo's Fire Blast, so Nanami is also pretty durable as well. It's going to take a couple blows from Sakamoto, especially considering Sakamoto is just going to be barehanding it, if not using any weapons that he has in the environment to help him, which in case, you know, Nanami does have the 7-3 that can break any of the weapons. And the problem is, like you said, just speed and just overall, Nanami's not going to be able to keep up, and the level of blitzing that's going to happen is just overall bad for Nanami to be a part of. Now, if Nanami's in overtime, and Nanami is, let's say, pulling what he pulls against Mahito, where he destroys let's say they're in like, let's say the setting that they're in is some kind of sewer area, or where they're enclosed in an area where Nanami can break down the building that's on top of them, and they're literally just fighting in the debris, and Nanami is much more likely to survive. I'm literally, the amount of generosity I have to give to Nanami here, I'm just trying to fight for him. Like, do you think there's like any sense of like Nanami like landing like a I don't know, man. I'm just trying here. I'm really trying here. Nanami's just rough.
If you put Sakamoto's kid and wife on the battlefield, right? You have Nanami like rush over to attack them. Maybe Sakamoto on some like Piccolo protecting Gohan shit like takes damage because he gets hit or something. But in all honesty, the speed difference is really hard to illustrate, but it's very, very, very vast. Like, it's not the difference between Yuji and Nanami in speed, right? It's closer to what Naobito did to Maki perception-wise in Shibuya, where she just was incapable of seeing him start moving.
Yeah,
right?
It's actually insane.
And even Nanami would be susceptible to the same thing, where he's like, "What the like, huh?" It would just be Sakamoto. Sakamoto takes a step, right, and from Nanami's perception, the dude in front of him, right, just disappeared, and now a pen is, you know, in his rib cage or something. You know what I mean? It's like that's the level of speed difference we're talking about, to where you have to orchestrate some really, really high level strategy in order to even have Sakamoto put in a position where that is possible, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
It's a very tough situation for Randomizer to be in, because he is not one of those characters that benefits from complex curse techniques. Like, his thing, in essence, makes him hit harder, right? Okay, Sakamoto's fought motherfuckers that hit really hard too. That's not really new to his fighting style or his approach to battle. So I just think he would deal with it in kind, right? It's gonna be like,
if Nanami had some reverse curse technique or something, this would be like a different conversation entirely. I feel like.
I think because you're then just prolonging it, which is something that I think Sakamoto Days characters would also probably have trouble with. Anybody that can just keep healing any of the damage that they take, especially for someone that goes non-lethal like Sakamoto, where you're just gonna get like head trauma and bruising and broken bone. Like that's gonna be relatively simple for RCT to fix. If Nanami had that in his kit, or say Sakamoto was pit up against like Higuruma, who does have RCT, we would probably be having a slightly different conversation in which the fight at the bare minimum is more prolonged than what it would be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then Nanami stays on because he's going to lose if we're going to have to remove Sakamoto already, which I guess is kind of a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's remove that, and then let's roll these wheels one more time. We're at 14 and 14, 1 and 1.
Mhm.
We've got up next. What an interesting matchup. I swear to God, I've seen this. This is literally just a plot line in Tekken at this point. We got Liu Xiaotang versus Panda.
Okay. Yeah, a Tekken plotline is crazy.
I would probably more or less, I would say, so the thing which we've already given to a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen characters is so in this instance, I think obviously if you were to give Liu anywhere of a semblance of speed similar to, you know, Sakamoto Days characters in general, which are just again much faster than base characters like Panda or Nanami, who, as Ronan explained, at the very least can very controversially be calculated at very least like the speed of sound, thanks to piercing blood faster than the speed of sound. Panda is one of those characters that just loses in the speed department in all categories. The thing with Panda though is this is a Panda that was able to survive, I think, Ultimate Mechamaru's, I think it's like Ultimate or Ultra Cannon Albatross, that literally like took out an entire section of the entire forest of the exchange event when they were fighting, and Panda not only lived to tell the tale but was able to then go gorilla mode and then also completely break Ultimate Mechamaru's puppet without any problems at all. So I think the real issue here is, especially when you have the consideration that Panda can just change form, I just don't think Liu would be able to do any actual damage to Panda. She just has no actual attack potency feats other than like maybe like like when she destroys that like the inside of the grocery store when her and Shin are like fighting Saw. Like I think that's like the best thing you can give her.
And even still, right? Like Liu is kind of in a similar situation to Panda, where her scaling relative to the verse is really bad, especially in base, right? Give her some alcohol that kind of changes, right? In terms of her martial arts ability and like general physical stats. But here's the thing, right? Something that I think is very important when talking about, especially a character who is just not super high scaling, not super intelligent in terms of their presentation. She has no way to locate any of Panda's cores, which are, aside from obliterating his body, right, the only way to take him out or make him lose any of his 3 lives. She is not strong in terms just like durability wise or like output wise, and I feel like one drumming beat is going to put her out of commission, right? She also has a very bad habit. Like, even if you said the speed difference was too much for Panda to overcome, she also has a pretty bad habit of being vulnerable after her drunken fists, like escapades. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there's like always like a little bit of a pausing period, not a recharge, because it's not like she's a robot, right? But it's like when she sobers up, she's kind of like, oh, what will happen? And for Panda, there is like a drumming beat, and it's like, all right, you can't block that with normal durability. Your normal durability probably wouldn't be great enough to deal with it anyway. Once again, pretty bad scaling. So I do think Panda he wins off of not being able to be defeated, Liu's not locating the cores, and she's any straight hit is probably putting her out of commission or injuring her to a point to where Panda can just handle that from there.
Yeah, Liu kind of suffers from just overall just like getting left behind. In the series, because I think that that drunken fist moment with Saw in like the Death Row Prison arc is literally the last time I think she's fought, and that's like chapter like 40 or 50 or something like that. We're in like 160, 170 now. Like Shin, I don't know how much better Shin would do against Panda, but like Shin has just gotten so many more power ups. Shin has his precognition now. He just has so much that would just help him a lot more. Like there's just nothing that we can even say in regards to Lou. She's just forgotten. All right, let's roll these one more time. That's gonna be, oh no, Panda needs to get removed. Of all people, I'm surprised Panda got the W, but
Yeah, no, Panda is, it's very matchup based, very matchup based. Yeah.
we're neck and neck here. Let's see. We've got, okay. Oh shit. We've got Nanami coming back for seconds. Okay, let's see.
I want another one.
I don't know if this one's gonna go well for him either. We've got Kuma Nomi.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that might.
That's a tough one. That's a very tough one for Nanami. I mean, because I just feel like Kuma Nomi's just so easily able to just overwhelm a character like Nanami, especially like when you consider all Nanami has is his little blunt blade.
Yeah, that better not have metal wrapped underneath, by the way.
Oh no.
Or that's just hers. My big thing with Kumanomi is what she's not very physically strong, right? That is in Nanami's favor, I will say. Like, we do see that tanks like Hyo are kind of not horrible matchups for her. Well, honestly, not a great matchup for her. But like, if you can just brute force a lot of what's coming your way, you will probably do well. My big thing is that Nanami also doesn't strike me as like having Hyo resilience.
Not at all.
Not to say that he can't like fight through bad injuries, because he does, like after getting like Jogoed, right? But it's more like, okay, Kumanomi gets boat motors and then like slams them through Nanami's back, right? Off guarding him once again. What's he gonna do about that? Yeah. Really?
What's Nanami gonna do with like multiple nails piercing his actual brain? And he's like Hyo like really sets a standard of like the amount of like damage that a character from Sakamoto Days is at least an order level character is able to just handle, and just continue pushing forward to try and accomplish their goal. And I like Nanami, as we said, Nanami has definitely higher durability than probably a character like Hyo, but does he have like the tenacity? I mean, I guess you could say he does. I mean, this is a character who half of his body's burned, and he's fighting against all the transfigured humans and everything like that. But
yeah, I think I think it would be a pretty high diff fight for her. Like, I think it would go similar to how it went with Hyo. Like, Nanami's probably taking an arm with him. You know what I mean? If like, just because I think there's going to be an instance in which she's barraging him with shit, and he's especially in overtime, right? If we're giving him that buff, where he's just like rushing through and gets off maybe an attack or two. Obviously, she has ways of like dealing with limb loss through, hey, let me get some metal to replace that, right? But I mean, don't let it be in any area reminiscent of Shibuya, right? Don't let there be cars. Don't let there be, street lamps. Don't let there be anything like that, because that's just not going to be really a really good thing. And for sorcerers of comparable level, say someone like Megami in the Culling games, right? We know that even Reggie, another like grade 1 level opponent, he views dropping and like launching trucks and shit as like a viable option to take a motherfucker out, right? Like, Yuji can deal with that pretty well. But Yuji is also like unusually tough, right? And it's something that like even when Yuta like tosses a car back at him, right? It kind of like deters him. He doesn't just, oh yeah, it's just a car. You know what I mean? It's whatever.
Catches him off guard. He's surprised someone can do like what he can.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's not a very simple feat. And I think if she's able to just, like, if Kumanomi just launching like 3, 4, 5 cars at him back to back, and like, okay, he cleaves through one, he cleaves through another. How many is he blocking? You know what I mean? Metal is very, very, very present in the modern day. I don't know how many he's got in terms of just blocking each and every attack. Kumanomi's not a super physical fighter, so I don't know if the speed difference would mean all that, but like it also does mean he's going to have a harder time landing blows on her. But yeah, I do think once again his simplistic fighting style gets him a better outcome than fighting Sakamoto. I'll definitely say that. But I do think that she would probably win by the end of it.
I completely agree. It's just Kumanomi can literally the biggest difference in power is just Kumanomi just has the area of effect ability, and like you said, like she's canonically able to throw full on Mack trucks just like Reggie Star is, through buildings and into her opponents. On top of everything else that she can do, she can just attack from multiple angles. She can, and I think it's important, and I'm glad that you brought it up. What we kind of mentioned in our Toji versus Sakamoto Days video when Kumanomi came up, where the battle really does also depend completely on where it's taking place. Because if they were to take place in like a desert per se, where Kumanomi does have absolutely no access to any metal, or even if we were to take, Nanami's blunt blade away, and it was just between Nanami barehanded versus Kumanomi barehanded. As you mentioned, Kumanomi isn't the greatest of a physical fighter, and if she doesn't have any metal around her, if you want to say this is 2-arm Kumanomi or 1-arm Kumanomi, that also makes a big difference because she's not going to be able to use any metal to replace her abandoned arm. And Nanami is able to also use 7-3 with his bare fist. So whereas Kumanomi will be completely disarmed, Nanami won't. So I guess the setting is also very important to decide where this battle is. I mean, this could just as easily become a very disadvantageous fight for Kumanomi as it could become for Nanami.
For sure.
So I guess that's kind of tough because, I guess where would you say? I guess it's kind of like a 5 out of 10, or
the way I view it though is just like there are going to be on average more situations in which Kumanomi will be in a place in which metal is available than not, because you say a desert, right? You say like the middle of the ocean, and it's like where else is Kumanomi going to not have anything that she can use or very quickly get to a location in which those things are readily available, right? You're in Shibuya, a lot of that is your now weapon, right? Where Kumanomi fought Hyo, obviously same thing, right? So it's kind of like it's one of those things where I think more often than not she probably is able to get a win. But there are specific contexts in which Nanami does like embarrass her. Like no metal around. Okay, Nanami, get you that easy win, brother.
All right, I respect that. I completely agree with you. Yeah, it's more likely than not there will be something that Kumanomi can use to win. And if we're saying that Nanami's blunt blade can actually be manipulated by Kumanomi's magnetism, then either way, wherever situation or location they're in, she at least has access to one thing. She could take that away from Nanami, and I'm just imagining just like that one, like her like throwing hand to hand with Nanami, and then just like every once in a while he's got to look out for like the fucking boomerang blunt blade that's flying around the area. But either way, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, Kumanomi definitely wins that for sure. This is interesting because it's honestly, I didn't expect it to go 1-for-1 like this. We're only 4 battles in, but still, it's an interesting trend. All right, let's roll these. We're at 13 and 13. We're even so far now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is something that I did not expect. We've got Toji Fushiguro coming up. Okay. So this is probably going to be a matchup we already talked about. But either way, going up against Kendaka, of all people.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'm trying to think about that. Kendaka's so fucking fast, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing is like, I don't know. I can't think of my brain like any of Kendaka like attack feats, but I can definitely tell you he's moving way faster than Toji can. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. It depends on where you scale Toji. If you scale her to Maki end of series, or if you scale him to, below Curse Spirit now. Yeah, everyone has their different interpretations of where Toji sits, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's once again, it's tough because like there are varying levels of like tiers at which you can scale JJK characters. In which like The tier that unfortunately JJK most consistently demonstrates is like the speed of sound, and being a couple of times beyond that is like pretty impressive, right? You do have moments where you're like, oh yeah, Hikari dodged Kashima's lightning, a contentious feat, but a feat that does exist, right? People like to bring up fucking Sukuna dodging Kashima's fucking Ray Blast thing. I think that's aim dodging. I think that's like more similar to like Kanaguri and Sakamoto's fight, where it's like, yeah, light's involved, but you can't really demonstrate they were in the act of like dodging the beam for the most part, at least from what I remember in both fights. If you go pretty conservative for both of them, Kendaka does like very, very badly blitz Toji. Just because Sakamoto and Nagumo, who he mainly like stunts on, right, during his introduction, are still characters at that point that like a gunfire is like pretty irrelevant unless you're getting caught off guard, right? They're reacting to it, they're dodging it, they're outmaneuvering it, blah 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 blah, right? Very 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 simple stuff. And then Kendaka like embarrasses them, like they're not able to even move a muscle in reaction to his blitz attempts. The problem is, I feel like his durability, and honestly, it might even be his stamina, might be like really bad. Because here's my thinking: if his back, if he
We're
throw
both
his
thinking
back,
the same thing.
if he throw his back in response to just having to stop on a dime, he might just be kind of fragile, right? It might be a sort of thing where he's just going to be blitzing a brick wall, but it's still a fucking brick wall. You know what I mean?
I also don't think it's any, small feat. The fact that he was able to take on like 3 top tier opponents like Sakamoto, Nagumo, and also when you include Rion, like that does show very insane combat potential, because despite the fact that he's outspeeding everyone involved, he's also having to keep track of all 3 people and the different kinds of attacks and things that can be going for him. If anything, I feel like if you're going to give Toji a similar speed to Maki, and you're going to say that Maki should scale to Hikari's lightning, then I guess it gets a little fuzzy.
At that point, because at that point I think Sakamoto Days characters probably like lose they
get crashed out, unfortunately.
Right? So it's like, and it's also just contentious, right? It's a thing you have to like. The speed of sound, whatever hypersonic shit, is just like very simple. It's very unarguable. It's just stated, blah blah blah, whatever, numerous times. You can kind of like you can definitely get real argumentative about other interpretations, right? And the highball, Toji's like reacting to lightning, he just beats Kendaka's ass up. Like it's not close, right?
100%. Even without speed, like you have things like Toji's just overall durability, that there's just no way, even if you were to scale Kendaka with the lack of, feats that he does have, even if you were to scale Kendaka to the highest level of Sakamoto Days attack potency, he is just not clearing the level that he needs to damage a being like Toji. Where like again, we just have too many feats from Maki, too many feats from Toji. Toji was canonically able to tank an attack from Red, which I'm pretty sure Red is supposed to be double, if not at least way more than what Blue's supposed to offer in attack power. And Teen Gojo's Blue was like destroying the entire Jujutsu headquarters. So like if Toji's tanking a Red and not having any broken bones and is just kind of, brushing that shit off, like Kendaka is just not even probably piercing Toji's skin. It's just it's just tough. If you're able to, and again, if you're being more conservative with it, if you want to scale Toji to Maki's bullet catching feat, then you would definitely be able to say Kendaka would be faster speed blitzing Toji, because you could say Toji is probably similar to the bullet reacting speed that we're giving base Sakamoto Days characters. But either way, I think no matter what way you look at the other stats, I think just the fact that Toji is a tank overall is just stopping Kendaka completely. There's nothing that Kendaka is going to do, and Toji, if his durability is swinging higher than what Kendaka can offer, I guarantee you Toji's punch is also swinging higher too.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, even if Toji's a lot slower, he honestly might just be able to. He gets hit by that first one, he's like, oh, okay, it's one of those, right? Because he should be familiar with speedy types. Like that's Naobito and Naoya, right? It's like he can formulate a whole strategy off of just like basically just trying to counterpunch. Like, oh, I just got hit at super speed. Let me try to just like it doesn't matter about getting hit because Kandaka does not have that AP. I'll just whatever happens, right? Precog included. I'll just sort of like respond in kind and just get one hit, and one hit probably finishes the fight. Like I said, Kandaka can barely handle the starting and stopping of his own immense speed. Let's not add a Toji fist to that, and see how that goes down.
Yeah, no, and I'm honestly, I'm glad that you brought up the whole back thing because, like you said, I'm thinking if Kandaka is throwing his back out, because he has to stop on a dime, then just overall dealing with, like, I'm just imagining Kandaka's skeleton like reverberating in the wind once he's like zipping around Toji, and Toji just grabs him and just like stops him immediately. Like his whole bones just start just falling apart. But yeah, no, I think we can give Toji the W on this one. I think
sure.
out of all order members, Toji definitely lucked out on this one for sure. But you know, not to say that he can't beat other order members too, but all right, I'm gonna remove Toji. And actually, I need to run to the bathroom really quickly. So just give me a break, and I'll be right back, guys.
For sure.
Everyone, hold out, and Ronan will, you know,
I'll hold down the fort. Yeah, chat. Yeah. I honestly, like Noah said, I am pretty surprised how even this is going. Like how even this is in terms of its back and forth. We'll see if JJK is able to take a more comfortable lead in this next matchup. But for the time being, I mean, 3 wins to 2. Granted, we did kind of cherry pick some more Sakamoto Days level JJK characters. But regardless, I do think it's pretty interesting that they're going back and forth like this. I'm curious to see. I guess I'm curious where we end up in the next match. Let's see, Sukuna versus Takamura is crazy. One of them will show the other what a real slash looks like, but I won't say who. I'll let y'all fight about that. But yeah. Let's see. Soul Split Katana is just one of Takamura's old swords is crazy. Yeah. Let me see here. I am interested. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I do want to talk about Higuruma. Higuruma is one of the more interesting characters to talk about in terms of a fight like this. Granted, it requires that he gets like a relatively strong character to go up against, but yeah. Who is my favorite character? In JJK, it's Megumi, and Sakamoto Days, it's Nagumo. Those are my favorite characters. Shin is second for Sakamoto Days, and Mahito is second for JJK. So those are my respective top 2s for both series. Judgman just negs. I mean, you just got to think about like what would Judgman neg, right? Like what would he erase? It's like we know he takes away cursed tools, right? In this instance, it would just be like he confiscates your weapon. It depending on the character, that's why I think it's interesting. Like, do you get the death penalty? Have you done anything worthy of that? How likely is it that he gets it? There are a lot of different options because now that we know he doesn't just pick the most severe crime, now that we know that he doesn't, like, Higuruma doesn't really get to choose, oh, I'll just pick your worst crime. Like, he can just get, hey, you jaywalked one time, confiscation. And it's like, what, you'll confiscate once again, if you're someone like Sakamoto, damn, bro, you confiscated this ballpoint pen. That sucks. So you know what I mean? It definitely depends. It depends on the character. Character.
I am back. I have returned.
Yep. What up?
What up? All right. So all I heard was Sakamoto getting pens confiscated.
Yeah, no, I was just saying Higuruma is one of the characters that I think will be most interesting to talk about because there's so many variables that go into a Higuruma battle depending on the character. Obviously, assuming they're top tier enough to face them on the physical front.
Oh
Yeah.
no, we damn bro, they had to do it to him. So Choso, our favorite brother, our favorite, up against Takamura.
Mm. Oh, yikes.
The
That is
change in tone
unfortunate.
immediately,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking, man, there's not that many people that make Choso look like that, bro. That's that one's mm, that one
That's
is
tough.
unfortunate.
Now, the one thing
That
I
one is
will definitely
unfortunate.
give Choso is, obviously before we go into it, Choso's got flowing red scale. He's got really good durability. I mean, this man's able to, tank multiple punches from Itadori Yuji, who, I mean, you could probably say is probably, throwing more power behind his punch than Takamura's slashing. Although
Mm.
Takamura is no slouch. This is the same man that literally cut the Tokyo Tower in half just to stop it from slanting. So I mean, yeah, Choso's going to be able to endure a lot of Takamura's hits. Takamura might not be slicing through Choso in one go, unless Ronan disagrees. But
No, it's basically the same thing I talked about with UD, where Choso's probably going to be less durable than he normally shows off of like blitzing. Like for example, right? Here's a really good example of what I'm talking about. When Sukuna blitzes Choso at the start of the fight, he pierces his stomach with a regular attack, right? But later in that same battle, after Sukuna is already recovering from, I think it's two black flashes, Sukuna then hits Choso with a black flash of his own. And Choso, because he's able to get his guard up, use his technique, and amplify himself with cursed energy, is able to survive it without significant damage. Right? Like it hurts, obviously. But compare him getting a hand through the chest to him being able to react visually and then like put his guard up, and the difference is night and day. So
mhm.
if like the difference in durability on a blitz is that much for someone like Choso, I feel like Takamura will probably one shot him is crazy, but I do think that Choso is it's a matter of how quickly you think Takamura wins, not does he win. Because it's just like maybe like Choso's not dumb, right? He's pretty quick on the uptake in some regards. Maybe if he realizes, hey man, this guy just reacts to bloodlust, that could help him out a little bit. But I honestly don't know if I see him realizing that in the heat of battle in a one-on-one.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Mm-mm. Not at all.
RCT, like his ability to heal and coagulate his blood, very useful, very helpful. But I mean, I think there would be a limit to that. And if Yuta spamming RCT in fighting Uro and Ishigori makes his curse energy plummet, I can only imagine what that does for Choso, right? So,
Right.
I used it 5 times in quick succession. Shit. Like I know I have half my cursed energy. That's great. You know what I mean?
The worst part is like things like piercing blood, supernova, like all of Choso's projectile and long range attacks that would normally give him advantage against Takamura completely get just chopped in half by the speed advantage that Takamura clearly has. I mean, Takamura is doing a pretty good job of keeping track of like three top tier opponents in Uzuki, Sakamoto, and Nagumo, and just literally all three of them the whole time are like, "What the fuck is going on? What is wrong with this old man?" Like Takaba is just cutting through piercing blood. He's cutting through supernova before Choso can even blink. The biggest thing, as we mentioned, is Choso's stamina for sure. But as Ronan mentions, how long is that stamina going to last? Like, how many times is Choso going to be able to use reverse curse technique or heal himself before Takamura just reduces Choso to zero cursed energy and just actually kills him? You also have,
mhm.
like Ronan said, if he, a perception blitz attack is going to do 10 times more damage than an attack that Choso is able to see coming. So Takamura has that going for him. I think the toughest thing that a lot of people are mentioning in chat would be if Choso, even let's say Choso gets, you know, blitzed, he gets hurt very badly. If Choso is able to survive a decent amount, or even let's say that Choso is able to achieve this result even after death, do you think the poison blood, obviously he does this against Naoya, that's how he stops Naoya from basically blitzing and causing the same kind of thing and cause the same kind of loss for Choso. If Choso just summons a giant wave of blood that Takamura can't escape from, uh, does the
Yeah,
poison, give Takamura an L?
the big thing would be that it has to like so in the Naoya fight, right? The Choso can use the blood to manipulate it and like weigh him down, but it has to like enter Takamura's body in some way. Like with Supernova, like it blows up, pierces him, the blood gets poisons him, blah blah blah. Same thing with like piercing blood with Arame. I just don't in any world see Supernova or piercing blood landing on Takamura, in all honesty. Right? I mean Takamura was using gunfire to like sharpen his blade. Piercing blood is gonna make that shit look extra shiny. You know what I mean? I just don't see a situation in which that really happens. I mean, even when you look at somebody like say Kenjaku, right? Who probably still isn't as fast as him, but has a similar level of like speed difference to where piercing blood is a non-factor. Supernova is pretty much usually a non-factor. Trost is able to set up conditions to which like he is able to, put Kenjaku in a pretty tough position. But even then, Kenjaku doesn't have like trouble reacting to the attack itself, right? He's just very hell bent on not using his arsenal and not taking him seriously. And because of that, Choso was able to make him like use a little bit more than what he previously found necessary. In Takamura's case, he doesn't strike me as the "I'll hold back for your sake" kind of assassin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm revisiting Choso versus Naoya. And last thing, before we give Takamura the W, I'm just curious. I do notice, so because I was curious, I wasn't sure if it was the poison that was just left on Naoya's body, or if it was actually what entered. But what I was confusing it with is when Choso basically just soaks Naoya's clothes completely in the blood and then just hardens it. So Naoya is kind of like stuck. He can't really move because his clothes are keeping him down because they're just like stiff and hard. Like, do you foresee that possibly being something that Choso could do to like eliminate or at least lessen the speed advantage?
I could see it. I could see it being an option, but I would say if it were like, I think very it's
Specific
very
outcome, right?
yeah, it's a very specific outcome that is very environmentally based. Because if it were that useful against characters of a notable speed difference, Kenjaku would have been like susceptible to it. You know what I mean? Like I guess sort of my reasoning is if it were a catch-all strategy, he would have just like, all right, let the blood flow, and I'll just weigh down Kenjaku with my blood, right? The reason he doesn't is because I just don't think that strategy applies for characters not with Naoya's mentality, and also in any environment that isn't super super restrictive.
Yeah, I
That's how I
completely
see it, at
agree.
least.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think it would give Takamura definitely has more of a percentage chance of winning over Choso. I think realistically, I like I said, I think the only W you could consider Choso getting would be like if it's like an after death. Choso's like, haha, I got my blood inside of you, and Takamura is like, oh shit, like keels
Yeah.
over like a day later or something like that from the poison.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Takamura is just an absolute fucking just a G. I don't think there's ever been anyone that does it like him before. Yeah, like you said, like the man literally sharpened his blade with a gunshot. Like I,
Yeah.
some of the things that I see in Sakamoto Days, sometimes it gets harder and harder to believe. I think the thing before that was Kamihate's fucking ricochet bullet on the tire. I think I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
All right. So literally that keeps it 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 again. We are literally neck and neck
Hmm.
still, which I think is insane. This is probably
Yeah.
the closest, most even randomizer we've ever done, I think.
Oh
Ever
yeah.
done.
100%.
Let's do this one more time. Let's see what's going on. Thankfully, we can take Takamura off the goddamn wheel. The Jujutsu Kaisen will thank us later.
Hmm.
Um okay. Interesting. So we've got your boy Megami.
Um,
And honestly, this is crazy because this is a matchup that I literally said I wish Gege did.
hmm.
Kamihate.
Kamihata. This is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of like this one. I do like this one. I'm curious what context you said you wanted to see it though. Like for like a military sort of. Oh, I do remember that. I think right. Like was it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I think like Yuji and Megumi should have had one last duo fight before unfortunately things happened. I think that
Yeah.
would have been cool for like a sniper fight. So because I would love to see Megumi's brain like and his Shikigami and the different things that he can do, like doing his
Mhm.
best to try and outsmart just a fucking masterclass sniper. Unfortunately, that masterclass sniper had to be fucking Kamihate of all people, which I think is a level above any military sniper that would have been present in the Culling
Oh
game
yeah.
arc. But
100%. So I think there are kind of like two scenarios. One in which Kamehante is in character and he's sniping like he normally would. Megumi just dies. Like he just gets sniped, and Megumi's like, "Oh, what the fuck? Bullet! Damn, I'm
Megumi
dead.
doesn't even know
Cool."
he's being hunted. He's
Yeah, he
just
does.
dead.
He doesn't. He's just walking. Blah 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 blah. Right. Whatever. He just gets cooked. Second scenario. It's sort of like a. It's like he knows. All right, bro. There's a sniper. Don't really know where he is. Blah blah blah. I think honestly, this is a really fun battle, specifically because, like you said, the strategy would be very very interesting. I do think Megumi has a lot of things in his arsenal that, if not counters, are pretty damn close. Like Rabbit Escape for me is like a godsend in
Hmm.
any sniper fight, because it just at any moment completely obfuscates him as a target, and he can set anything up in that. Rabbit Escape is like, I mean, Toji gets through it via instinct, right? Kamihate, as far as we know so far, you know what I mean? This may age poorly, does not have like sniper precog or whatever, right? Um, I think we agree if Megami gets anywhere close, I mean, he just wins, right? Like that's not really in contention.
Hmm.
Um, it's a matter of getting close. And I
Yeah.
think I'm trying to think like Rabbit Escape is a very useful Shikigami at that point. New Way is kind of cool. Divine Dog would honestly just be what he probably uses to finish the fight. I don't know if it would be the most applicable thing in this specific instance. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. It's kind of difficult because we haven't seen Kamehate fight a person that is, I think, super bent on getting close, right? Like
Hmm.
we've only seen him fight another sniper who is fine at fighting at long range, whereas Megami doesn't have any he does not have any techniques that work at that distance very effectively,
I
right?
think I think what's most interesting, and just to explain too for anybody that's confused as to like why like this one's even so close for like an order level member assassin like Kamihate. The thing with Kamihate is because he's just strictly a sniper. Even if you were to say his physical body would be able to move at like the same speeds as most of the Sakamoto Days characters, because he's just sitting in one spot and sniping, he's completely restricted to how quick his bullets move, which is a
Yeah.
very reasonable speed for Megami to deal with things. It's not like he's going to be getting completely perception blitzed like a lot of the other characters would be doing to a character like Megami. And the thing with Megami is the 10 Shadows technique is such a versatile thing that, combined with a character like Megami's brain, uh, definitely gives him a lot of options where like he could either feint Kamihate, as like I said, especially if this is a situation where he knows that Kamihate is hunting him. In any
Mhm.
other instance, like you have things like Nue that can raise Megami where he can fly upwards or downwards or move himself behind buildings, or he also has, as you mentioned, Rabbit Escape that work perfectly to hide him or get him out of the way of certain bullets. Also, like
Mhm.
other things that I'm even imagining that could be used are just in general, even if you have things like Chimera Shadow Garden that
Mhm.
need need an outside barrier or something that can keep it from keeping their enemy stuck within. If Megami is
Mhm.
just casting it, you also know how Megami has like shadow clones or things like that. It's possible
Yeah.
that like if Megami can cast Chimera Shadow Garden and then potentially have one of his Shikigami like sneak up on Kamihate, he can make Kamihate think that Megami's pinned down in one area and he's gunning Megami down, or make him think that he's actually got a headshot on Megami. And then next thing he knows, he goes, I finished it. And just like Reggie, Divine Dog's coming up right behind Kamihate and just ripping off half of his body because Divine Dog finally was able to get to where Kamihate is and sniff him out. Divine Dog's sense of smell is really good. We also know that Megami can be very far away from his Shikigami, specifically with how we see in the exchange event. He's lending Inumaki, one of the Divine Dogs, to help while Megami's completely fighting a different opponent completely far away. Like, this is a really good matchup because Megami has so many different things that he can use to just like try and like sneak up on, or just like, this is really a battle of the minds more than it is a physical battle.
He also, like, an underrated ability. I mean, maybe because he doesn't use it as much. Just hide in his shadow if he needs to get, like, if he needs some time to strategize. It's just like something he does. Just boom, dip in there, maybe grab your curse tool, get back out. Like, there are a bunch of options in which it's very reasonable for him to be able to deal with it. I mean, you even have his Tochigami, which have no real attack prowess, but like, they have pretty decent range in like grabbing himself or enemies. He does it with Awasaka to like to fling him all over the place, and the Tochigami is even capable of grabbing Megami and retrieving him faster than he can just get slashed by one of Toji's attacks, right? And it's like, the arsenal is, I think, very well suited for that kind of battle. Like, I think it would, like, out of any matchup Megami could have gotten, this is probably one of the better ones, right? Just because it is playing the game at a cerebral level for him, and that's probably like his best stat or his best attribute. So I actually do think that Megami would be able to get a win here. Although, in very Megami fashion, bro is definitely like, he's probably taking a bullet, right? He's probably going like, hey, I'm getting hit at some point during this, right? He could have, like you said, in having his long range, like his Shikigami just like cover, what does he have Nue cover, right? Like a 2-kilometer radius or some shit like that when they first enter the Culling games in order to try to find Yuji. I mean, he could just have it sweep. And even if Nue gets shot, it doesn't really matter because Nue takes a lot of damage. Like, Hanami stabs Nue through its wings or whatever. An entry wound much larger than a bullet. And, that didn't disappear from his arsenal. So I think overall, he's just like very well equipped to deal with a sniper. Rabbit escape, hides him initially. Nue searches for Kamihate. He's able to use Divine Dog, try to sniff him out or something to that effect. He uses Toshikigami to help him get out of dodge in any like really bad scenarios. And I mean, he just kind of like, he just strikes me as the type of person that'll have a pretty good time. Or not a pretty good time, but like he's pretty well equipped to deal with that type of fighter.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, and I'm glad that you brought up like, because I was also even curious how much damage a bullet would even do to one of Megami's Shikigami, because we know canonically these things are they're fragile. I don't want to say that they're made of steel, but these characters are tanking things usually stronger than a bullet, even though Kenjaku does mention a bullet is probably a really good way to handle a sorcerer, which I just don't know why we haven't gotten a gun for Sukuna at this point, but I digress. The fact of the matter is, I think Megami's brain wins him the fight in this situation, especially for one, just based off the fact that if depending on, we don't know the exact range, but if Megami is able to get close enough, use all of his planning and Nue to scope everything out, even if he can't get Divine Dog up close, if Megami could get close enough, who says Megami can't just traverse the shadow and just literally just grab Kamihate from his ankle and pull him into the shadow and he's done. Once he gets close enough. There's just more win cons for Megami than there is for Kamihate, believe it or not.
Yeah. I think for sure. Like, the big thing is like Megami kind of like shits on Reggie for thinking that knives to the face would be enough to take it out, and it seems to be pretty consistent that most of his Shikigami need to be like obliterated. Not that they're super durable, but more so the quality of damage they need to take is really high. Like, one of his divine dogs gets their head cut off and then gets reincarnated, or Orochi gets dismantled and cleaved all the way down and gets like eliminated. But generally speaking, they can take quite a bit of damage before Megami is unable to use them. And even if he is right, one of them just gets taken out. Okay, well, you just now made one of my other Shikigami stronger. Appreciate you. Right, get to working on that soon. So that's kind of how I view it.
Completely, I 100% agree. And you also have this is getting into like a ground that we don't even need to cover, but considering if you have Megami that has round deer, if that's a Shikigami that he could use, I mean, if he does get hit with a bullet, he can just heal as long as it's not through his dome. It's just
yeah, for sure.
I feel very comfortable giving this one to Megami here. I feel like most other people probably would not have as easy of a time as with Kamehate. Kind of a very interesting matchup, I feel like.
For sure. But,
yeah. All right, so that's a win for Jujutsu Kaisen side. That's Megami taken off the board. This is insane. Who's gonna break the tie?
Yeah, we'll see. I think JJK could pull ahead, right? If it gets this, it'll be able to break the tie. Sakamoto's got to get this one back. We'll see.
It's not looking like it. We've got Shishiba again trying to get his run back here against Ino Takuma.
So yeah, the tie's not broken. Got it. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just like honestly, bro, I have a lot more respect for Ino now than I did like probably a couple months ago.
True. MVP of the arc. I respect him.
Unfortunately, still not beating Shishiba, bro.
It's just not the case.
Yeah.
Just nothing that Auspicious Beast does makes me think that even with like I think the strongest one that we finally just were able to see, the dragon. I don't remember what its name was, but it barely did much of a problem to Sukuna. It barely did any damage to the building they were inside of when he casted it. And Ino's best feat is stunting on a no-name curse user that was stolen as a child from some old lady. I just think Shishiba has this one in the bag. There's not even much to really discuss here.
I see people saying Ino took a hit from Sukuna, and I'm like, yeah, bro, he took hits from Toji too. You know what I mean? Like, he takes hits from a lot of people. The
Shiesty Sorcerer is not really doing like to give you an idea of like Shishiba. Like Shishiba is one of the strongest assassins in all of Sakamoto Days. He was able to beat Satoru Yotsumura, who was I think like probably if we were to put scaling involved, he's probably like the number 2 under full power Sakamoto. I don't know if you disagree with that. But
he's definitely in that tier. Yeah, he's very high up.
Shishiba is very fast. He's very strong. He's very durable. He is literally one of the strongest characters in the series. I don't think he is one of those durable people. He's been able to get thrown through I think 5 floors of a building when he fights Yotsumura. So he's at least durable to withstand more than what Ino is shown to be capable of, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ino can use like I forget what the name of one of his auspicious beasts is, but he can like duel the pain, right? And that's fine, but that runs out after a point in time. And Ino, like there is a obvious limit that exists because I think he's like 2 encounters with Sukuna in which he takes damage, and then after that he's like, yeah, Yuji, you got this, I'm done, brother. Which is like, it's not to shit on Ino, right? It's not like he's like, it's just, he doesn't really have any speed feats. Neither do any of his auspicious beasts, in all honesty.
We've seen what speed blitzing does to Ino.
Yeah.
Literally seen it happen.
And then that's kind of just like, and don't let Shishiba, take the shiesty off, bro. Don't let him do that. Like that just makes it worse. You now just take away like his ability to use his main curse technique. So yeah, that's kind of how I see this playing out. I'm gonna be honest.
100. I completely agree with you. Yeah, I don't think I think Ino. I put Ino on the list because, like I said, and around this level of sorcerer, especially with the upgrades he's gotten in Shinjuku Showdown, like you said, he's definitely very much increased my like of him for sure. But it's just not enough to go up against an Order member. Maybe if it was like Shin, I feel like that'd be a much
Yeah,
more like even matchup, honestly.
for sure, for sure. Some a little bit more in his weight class. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so Shishiba makes his way off. So yeah, no, we're right back to even. Whatever. Okay.
What is that? 4-4.
Yeah, 4-4. Everybody 4-4. Let's see what's up next. Oh, Nanami gets his third run back.
Okay.
Versus Kanagori.
Okay, your favorite. Oh, my favorite character versus your favorite character,
That's
bro.
crazy.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, no, I fucking Kanagori. Yeah, I mean, he has one of the cooler fights with Sakamoto for sure. I mean, the kind of weapons that he's able to just pull out of his ass are absolutely insane. I won't deny the crazy powered laser beam that he just carries on him for some reason at all times, and his set or whatever, like the set lights that he uses. I mean, yeah, he definitely has ways that could damage Nanami for sure. Even though like the attack potency probably doesn't reach that, you can't convince me that a high powered laser isn't just piercing Nanami's durability. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like what that even like. I'm trying to think if there's like a JJK equivalent to that I could maybe compare to where Nanami lies. Are
we saying would the light beams move at the speed of light?
I mean, it's just light, right? Like that's all it is. It's a high intensity laser, right? So it's definitely faster. But the thing is like it kind of falls into that like you could say a lightsaber is a laser too, but that doesn't mean that the person swinging it's moving that fast per se. But
it'd probably be one of those things where like if Nanami didn't know it was coming and he turned it on, and it's like
aims. Yeah. There you go. Laser incoming.
Yeah, you're fucking Ash.
Yeah. The movie about a worn down salaryman turned sorcerer would be too good. Kanaguri wins. Yeah, does he get a good plot film buff? You know what I mean? He's like, shit, dude. God, this is such a good movie. I can cook. Let me do this.
100%. Actually, I feel like Nanami is the one. I feel like that would be canon for sure. He'd be like, bro, you are perfect for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Kanagori is able to swing with I don't know what percentage or what power level you'd put Sakamoto at, but he's able to swing with a skinny Sakamoto from as late as the JCC arc. So Kanagori's no slouch. He's able to take a decent amount of damage because he survives that battle, I'm pretty sure. I just don't know, like, are we saying that like he's just following Akira because he's interested, right? Like he's not actually like scared of Akira, I don't think. So I don't. This one is probably the closest matchup Nanami's gotten so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's rough. Kanaguri, huh? Like, he kind of does. Like, physically, he should honestly be higher than Nanami, at least speed wise, right? Because he was not beating Sakamoto. Maybe not even equal. Well, definitely not equal, but like kind of relative in some regard, right? When he went skinny and all that.
He also kills what's her name, the like very famous sensei.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be like super duper strong as well, even compared to Sakamoto. Somewhat.
Yeah, like a potential order level, person. I think actually, but yeah, I'm trying to think right now. It's tough. It really depends on that high density laser beam, because if that's not strong enough to do serious damage, Kanaguri might just get like, well, I'm trying to think how Nanami can overcome the speed gap. I'm trying to think about like, does Kanaguri fight in a way that leaves himself very open for stuff like that? Because Kanaguri, you know, while he's not my favorite character like he is for you, right? His fights don't, aside from the Sakamoto one, don't immediately pop into my head as like his style is very clear.
Yeah. Do you think a Black Flash would just be like a one-hit KO?
Oh, 100%. Like 100%. He turns into like very, very much so. Like Kanaguri is definitely going into the gore aspect of cinema if he gets hit with a Black Flash. Yeah.
It's tough. I have to I have to go back to and look at his fight with Sakamoto, honestly. Because other than that, like you said, like there's nothing that like sticks out in my mind when it comes to Kanaguri where I'm like, yep, that's an instant, like he's coming out on top. But there's also nothing in my mind for Nanami either. So like let me see. Nope, that's the flashback arc. I went too far. Um I don't know, chat. What do you guys think? What's chat saying? Let me check.
Yeah, I feel like they're on Nanami's side.
The odds are 9 to
Now
1. One is Nanami. Damn.
that's crazy. That's a lot. Um, let's see. Hmm.
Let me see what I'll put it to a poll. We'll see what chat says while we're thinking about it. But yeah. Well, I guess we also have to imagine like he's like I also forgot Kanaguri is like also canonically able to like he didn't take any damage from the Sakamoto fight because it was all fake.
Like,
it was all
fake
cosmetic
blood.
makeup and everything.
Yeah.
I just remembered that.
It's a pretty good feat, in all honesty. I do think though, Nanami, like a Nanami tier fighter, he's gonna make that fake blood very real.
Yeah. Yeah, 7-3 is also tough too because we know 7-3 is just significantly, taking. Well, it's tough because we said we gave Sakamoto the win. We gave who else fought Nanami? Was it Kumanomi?
Yeah.
Where would we?
Hmm.
Well, if we put Kanaguri lower than Sakamoto, where would you put I would definitely put Kanaguri lower than Kumanomi probably as well. I'm sure someone would probably disagree with me on that one. I feel like that's not as concrete. But
No, it's a tough one. I feel like because to me, Hyo strikes me as like the weakest order member.
that's what everyone says when they're talking to Heisuke.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Hyo's weak. He wouldn't have lost if he wasn't.
Jesus Christ, so crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it hinges on that high density laser beam.
Yeah, and also how much damage that high density laser beam would actually do to Nanami. Let's see if I can actually get the panel of where he's doing that. Well, it's clearly not too strong because he tanks his own attack.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, no, that is fair.
Sakamoto reflects it, and it reflects back and hits Kanaguri right in the back, and he just takes the hit like it's nothing. So if Kanaguri is canonically taking the hit like it's really nothing, I'm going to imagine that it's even more nothing for Nanami and his cursed energy manipulation. So yeah, I'm more than happy to not give Kanaguri the win here.
Yeah, we could say Nanami. You know, Nanami, you earned it. You
got beat up twice. Third time's the charm.
You fought hard for it, brother.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, cool. Okay.
Calling it the Sakamoto Granite Blast is kind of crazy, by the way. Like, that's kind of insane.
All right. So Nanami can finally get off the board. He can finally stop getting bullied here. And Kanaguri is gonna keep swinging. All right. We're necking. We're JJK is in the lead again, but let's see if we can immediately switch that up. And it looks like the poll was also giving Nanami the win in that situation as well.
Cool.
Oh no, not Nagumo versus Kusakabe.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I think this one is actually interesting just solely off the fact that, from my understanding of Simple Domain, it kind of eliminates deception from Nagumo's bag, no?
Yeah.
Like, just completely off the board. And I'm like, shit, man, that's not Nagumo's whole thing, but damn, is that a lot of it? You know what I mean? And being able to just program a response in anything that enters is immediately responded to. It means like the dice roll shit that he did versus Gaku is probably a non-factor, right?
Yep.
It makes that invisible blade a non-factor.
Simple Domain is honestly a pretty big win con for him because there's nothing that Nagumo can really do to get around it. And like the thing is if we're already giving Jujutsu Kaisen characters much higher attack potency, then those
then
slashes
yeah,
are definitely gonna once Kusakabe expands his range.
yeah,
There's not really much that Nagumo is gonna be able to do because canonically Kusakabe can literally just camp in his simple domain. There's
yeah.
no reason, and there's no reason why he wouldn't.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would do. Um, the the only thing in Nagumo's favor is the typical Sakamoto Days speed gap, but I mean, the simple domain seems to account for a lot of that in itself. Um, like for example, right when Kusakabe goes to attack Sukuna, um, in other portions of the battle, right, it seems that Kusakabe isn't quick enough. But when he opens simple domain and expands the range, he's able to slice Sukuna like a dozen times. So it seems like the automatic attack function is like really, really potent relative to what it is normally. Not to say it overcomes all speed gaps, but I mean Kusakabe went from like, yeah, I can't keep up with him. Yuji, go, yeah, chase him down, and like, you know, he has like Higuruma rolling off his back, and you know they're like barely reacting to his slashes. To simple domain, he's blocking all of them, and then
Even
he's
when
able.
Sukuna's like attacking without a tell.
Yeah, exactly. No hand signs, no words, no nothing. Yeah, Kusakabe. Damn, this sucks.
Yeah, isn't
Kusakabe
that
fucking wins.
crazy
Like
over
I'm like,
Nagumo?
because it's funny too because I'm agenda wise I'm in pain too because Nagumo is my favorite Sakamoto Days character, but Kusakabe kind of feels like he falls into that agenda Kaizen shit where I'm like just proud that a motherfucker I thought was strong got some good feats. So my brain is like really twisted up here, but I do feel like Kusakabe just hard counters Nagumo's fighting style and
Hmm.
his kit.
Yeah.
Like fighting a motherfucker with deception tactics that does not visually need to respond to your shit is crazy.
Yeah, I think in literally any other context, like I would give Nagumo the win. If Kusakabe didn't have simple domain, I would think Nagumo has the speed advantage, even without the attack potency advantage. Nagumo's changing weapon, the invisible blade, the different kind of things that he's capable of. I mean, this is a character that literally lifted fucking minimalist, the fucking yoked gorilla man, up like by his fucking neck with one hand. Like it's actually insane. Like Nagumo is very strong. He's also like he's one of my favorite characters as well in Sakamoto Days. He is canonically probably one of like the top in the verse. And like I said, in literally any other situation, Nagumo has every advantage over Kusakabe. It's just simple domain. There's literally nothing that can be done. And if the simple domain, like you said, if the simple domain slashes are actually drawing blood from the King of Curses in his full power, I don't. Nagumo's cooked. There's just
Yeah.
nothing, and Nagumo doesn't have anything besides, like you said, his deception, and nothing in his like changing weapons is just.
Yeah.
It,
Invisible blade, go. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Simple domain, buddy. Like, yeah, that's not great. That is not great. Okay, fair enough. Kusakabe, you earned the win, brother.
yeah,
Shit.
100%, 100%. Someone said like Nagumo wins by just disguising himself as Usami and killing Kusakabe before the battle begins. Which you know
Yeah.
what? If Nagumo can
Which
find out
is
what
how
Usami looks like before we do, more power to him. I'll give him the win in that situation too.
shit, bro. Disguise himself as Sukuna. Don't move. Like just fake that shit. Like, yeah, I'm so strong. Don't move. Blah blah blah. Yeah, no, that's really the that's all I got for Nagumo. Yeah, straight up fight. Not really in the cards for him. I fear.
Can't say I expected this outcome, honestly, at all. And you know what? That's crazy too, because your goat, that he's the one that broke the tiebreaker now. Now they're ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Fair
right.
enough, bro. Fair enough.
All right, let's take Kusakabe off the list. All right, so now they're ahead. Now they're ahead by one. Now they have to win two to win. All right, hopefully Nagumo can get his run back because that's kind of crazy, kind of insane to me. All right. Um. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, at least you know what. At least you know what. This is an interesting one. Rihanna Cow versus Mei Mei. What a fucking
What the?
battle of the personalities there. I mean, holy shit.
Okay, question. Let me just make sure we're on the same page here. Is Wee Wee standard equipment? Is that
Um, we could
Or-
honestly look at it both ways. I'd be interested in seeing if you
Okay.
think how much of a difference that actually would make.
Got you. I'm just curious. I just was like,
I
because I haven't
normally
really.
consider it standard equipment. I normally consider them of the same person, but I'm interested to
Mhm.
see like how much of a bearing Wee actually has on Mei Mei's ability to get this win, honestly.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I only asked because I didn't want to start like doing the mental math for Wee Wee, only to be like, no, it's just Mei Mei straight up. So just for the 1v1, I think like Rion, I think the paths are really giving her, once again, it's the paths plus speed difference plus blitzes being particularly bad for characters that reinforce themselves with cursed energy. It's kind of the way I see it. Like Mei Mei is, the way I view it is pretty much Nanami tier abilities physically. Like I kind of view her in that vague area, just with like less concrete statements or whatever.
I
Maybe
would agree.
she doesn't hit as hard. But she's like, she's fairly quick, right? She fights someone stronger than like the grasshopper curse. Yuji's kind of like that, whoever that curse user was, right? Yuji says is quite a bit stronger than the grasshopper, which is, whatever. I guess it's fine. Mei Mei kind of embarrasses him, blah blah blah. Rion, I think, still gets the benefit of being that much faster though. Like you even have like Kendaka being like, shit, man, with her visual prowess, you know what I mean? She's the best at fighting me out of all of these three people, and he's only able to throw her off by basically like feints being more prominent for someone of her kinetic vision. I don't think Mei Mei is going to pick up on that quickly enough. I feel like Rion's going to be like, damn, the path take me straight to your jugular. Thanks.
Exactly.
And that's gonna be that.
Yeah. I mean, Rion's able to, depending on how much of this is like her just being cocky and how much is telling the truth. I mean, she claims that she'd be able to beat Sakamoto in a fight if there were no weapons involved and they were both naked. So like you've definitely, this is a woman she's got some combat ability. I would, and now, Mei Mei canonically as well is also at her peak physical ability. So you can give her that. But I also think it depends what happens here based on how many crows Mei Mei has at her disposal, right? I feel like that also matters as well, because Bird Strike would probably be a one-hit KO if landed for sure. But you have a cow who has the paths that easily help her, move through situations like that, and she's also going to be faster, much faster. So
yeah, basically, kind of how I view it, right? It's just like moves faster. One of the characters that is just going to go literally like strategically the most lethal place possible just from the jump.
Yep. And Mei Mei can't heal. She doesn't have reverse curse technique, at least as far as we know. So it's not like she has the ability to, get her jugular cut and she can just, all right, let me put this back together.
Yeah, with Wee Wee, the only thing it adds is maybe a running option. Hey, Les, let's not fight this lady. She just took my arm off.
I think because it's interesting, right? Because Wee Wee, while teleportation is like a very handy ability, it's awesome. There's no instances of Wee Wee being able to use it like in combat, like something like a Toto Boogie Woogie, right? Where like, I mean, if he was, maybe that would definitely add a little bit of, feng shui into the fight, and maybe, Mei Mei would be able to teleport all over the place and actually find some way to keep up with a cow's speed difference. But I mean, from the looks of it, Wee Wee's got like the little, matador, little thing, and he's just gonna kind of just teleport. It's very slow. It's not a very efficient teleport. So I just don't even think it would really matter in this instance.
Yeah, basically, I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's that. Then now obviously, like we said, Bird Strike would win, but do you think Cow would just dodge that probably?
Yeah, 100%. When Rand sends the bloodlust from the crows, even if the crows don't have bloodlust, it's just like, hey man, this thing is dive bombing at me really fast. Let me avoid it.
She'd probably catch that shit right out of the air. Be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Put her cigarette out on the bird's head.
Yeah,
Call PETA
damn.
immediately.
Nah, dodge that shit. Let the friction let it light it. Oh no, that's hard. But yeah, no, Rand definitely wins. Rand definitely wins.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so we're back in action. Rion was tough. That was honestly that was just a fun matchup in general, just because of the two characters. I think you know what, those two characters would probably be good friends.
Yeah. Well,
You don't
I
think
don't
so?
know. I think depends on how upfront Meme is about her grooming activities. I feel like Rion's not rocking with that, but I think
True.
their personalities before that, like how we all viewed Meme before the Kuala Lumpur chapter, is probably like up to the point where I think like Rion would be like, yeah, you kind of cool, you kind of cool.
They'd be
So
cool
that's kind of how I
drinking
view it.
buddies. So, you know, you should probably get along with Utahime better, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, she'd probably be like the Gojo to Urahime's Urahime, like just bugging her all the time. Yeah, good friendship in the making right there.
All right. Up next, it's interesting how the probably like the nicest, most innocent order member is probably what we got here. We got Higuruma versus Hyo.
Higuruma versus Hyo,
I
the
think
worst
Hyo would
person
win.
for Higuruma to take weapons from. I'm gonna be honest, bro.
Yeah.
Those brass knuckles are not doing shit. You're getting your chest caved in. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Hyo is like, he puts the giant hole in the hospital room where like when he's visiting Sakamoto, he literally is like grabbing an entire MRI machine and like lifting it up no problem. Higuruma is just in a situation, unfortunately, that he doesn't have any way out of, besides if he does land domain and lands sort of execution, and even then Hyo is still just beating the brakes off man. Like, he just has to hope like the sword accidentally grazes him.
I think so. Here's the thing with Hyo, right? I think it's a good matchup for him in terms of the way he fights. I will say in the death penalty scenario, I do think he loses, not because he's not fast enough. Hyo strikes me as the type of guy that would like block. He would try to
Oh,
he would try to
no.
like he would kind of like how he does. I think he does it with Kumanomi, where he's like willing to take damage to deal out a lot more. And if he does not know, insta kill if you get a paper cut from that thing, right? Cooked. That's kind of how I view it. Outside of that, Higuruma's physicals are just like really, really unremarkable. Because okay, in Confiscate, they take his brass knuckles, cool, fine, whatever. I don't think that really is going to impact him all that much. If he gets death penalty, I already spoke on how I feel about that. And Higuruma just does not like him not being able to put away Yuji in a very quick fashion when Yuji had no curse energy is like extremely telling. It's not that Yuji is a slouch per se, right? It's more so that like if we're already saying your average Sakamoto Days character scales higher, at least in the speed department, than, you know, Yuji with cursed energy, then you take that away in Higuruma being able to be reacted to, Yuji being able to block multiple like hammer swings or whatever, et cetera, and them even getting ready to clash at the end. Hyo's probably getting a lot more hits on Higuruma than vice versa. The big thing for Higuruma is RCT, because Hyo does not do, in my opinion, very lethal damage. Not off of like one or two hits. It's just blunt force trauma over and over, right? And unlike a Nagumo or a Rion, where they're like, hey, you know, I'll take your head, please and thank you, or like Takamura, right? Your whole upper half, I'll give me that. Hyo strikes me as a type that like, okay, sure, you shattered all of my ribs, but RCT can heal that. Now, whether or not you think Higuruma at this point in time can use RCT enough will depend on how proficient you think Higuruma is. We've seen him heal quite a bit of damage, but we haven't seen him heal damage consecutively. And it's, once again, it's kind of that Yuta situation where it's like, well, damn, how much are you capable of using RCT if Yuta spams it like for one rush of attacks and has a lot of trouble, right? Hyo's kind of like, Hyo doesn't seem to be looking at cars and buses and massive like vehicles being thrown at him as the biggest problem in the world. Um, so it kind of just makes me think that Higuruma, I don't know, it's tough. It's tough. Hyo does not strike me as like a someone who's weak in regards to stamina, but
Yeah.
Higuruma's only choice is to go for a prolonged battle because he's not like smacking Hyo up in like overcoming his durability that quickly.
No, I think it all comes down to, like you said, like Higuruma would most likely open the domain. That would be the off rip. That'd be how the battle starts. I think obviously the one thing that Higuruma does have going for him against Hyo or really any other character that he probably would have got put up with, is the fact that a lot of these characters are assassins. So that is a lot of, crimes to pick from in the randomized wheel of whatever Judge Man decides to choose. Because that would definitely probably ruin all of Higuruma's chances if, God forbid, like, let's say he summons Judge Man and Judge Man's like, yo, you stole a stick of gum when you were 5 years old. Like, oof, like, and no death penalty.
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
And it's the Sukuna problem, right? Where Sukuna's done way worse things than probably any Sakamoto Days character, but without the retrial option. Like Higuruma makes it quite clear that because of how much bad shit Sukuna does, things like property damage also qualify. And those things are just as, if not more likely due to the frequency of when they pull up, right? Mm-hmm. They are like, or when they happen, they are that much more likely to be on the trial, right? Yeah. So it's definitely luck of the draw there. Like I said, I don't know if I think Hyo's not taking any damage. So like I don't think the whatchamacallit, the sort of execution or whatever, right? Like I don't think he's avoiding every attack, even of his own volition. He just strikes me as a type that would be like, okay, you're slicing, you're not leaving yourself open. Let me just block this with my arm and fucking just boom, just slam you. Like, but obviously he doesn't
wake up at the pearly gates.
Yeah, hold on. What
I was just fighting this guy.
Right, did. Yeah. But otherwise, I think you probably just, I don't know. RCT is tough. RCT is tough when we don't know how much a character could use it. Because, like, once again, for characters like Sukuna, Gojo, Yuta, Bakari, Yuji, even Choso, because of, like, the lesson strain or whatever, it's, like, maybe a little bit more, you could kind of be like, yeah, they just keep using it. But Higuruma just learned that shit, and he does not fight for very long after using it once. So we have no idea how it impacts his stamina.
It would also be Higuruma that just popped the domain expansion at the beginning of the fight as well. And it's unclear how much of Higuruma's domain takes up as well. So because you figure, I guess like the biggest question is, and this would be either because they think Sukuna is just, they only have one chance because Sukuna is Sukuna, or they only have one chance because Higuruma can only pop his domain once. Would be like, if they don't get that death penalty off the rip, are you of the same like mind as me that Hyo would just eventually just win because Higuruma just doesn't have a win con? Or would you think that Higuruma probably could still win even if he just gets like confiscation or something? Or I guess like a follow question would be, if it just is confiscation, can Higuruma pop again and try and go for the death penalty?
It seems that Hyo would have to ask for a retrial, right? Rather than Higuruma, just based on the Yuji fight. The way I look at it is that it's like this, right? Higuruma doesn't deal that much damage for a JJK character. Hyo deals a lot of damage for a Sakamoto Days character, and Hyo's obviously a lot faster. Higuruma's a lot slower. So Hyo's just going to be beating on Higuruma for like longer periods of time than is in reverse. And even when, unlike a lot of JJK characters, even when Higuruma does get a hit off, I don't view it as like the end all be all that, like, you put Nanami up here, right? Nanami hitting Hyo with the ratio technique is a significantly larger swing in terms of outcome than Higuruma hitting Hyo with like his fucking hammer that is like, I don't know, base Yuji level or whatever. That's the way I see it though.
So would you say that Hyo probably has the higher win percentage?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, for sure.
Cool.
I think he wins more consistently.
All right. Hyo tied it up.
Yep.
All right.
Good
Now,
job, yeah. First on screen win, brother.
when did you say you had to be out? In 2.5 or 2?
Yeah, 2.5 school,
Okay.
2.5 school.
Okay. Because I
Um,
think we got a couple people left, but we'll see. Once we start, we're getting close to that 2.5 hour. Just wanted to keep
cool,
track
cool,
of
cool.
time.
Yeah,
Uh,
appreciate you.
all right. Let's see. Let's see. Wheel spin number. I don't even know what number it is. Okay, interesting. Reggie Star versus Carolina Reaper.
I feel like just Reggie, like just off of like, I'm trying to think, what does Carolina Reaper even fucking do?
Yeah,
I feel
he
like,
had like his like short fight against Amane of all people.
yeah,
And it was just like
not
he's just got like the heat searing thing or whatever.
yeah, get a house dropped on you, idiot. I don't know. Like that's just what it feels like. Because I feel like Amane wasn't as fast or as strong or whatever, but Amane was able to avoid him for a long enough time to get his strategy in order. Which is already like once again, Amane, although not to the same extent, kind of falls in that Lu category where he does not scale to a lot of Sakamoto Days characters. He's just like in a lower tier than a lot of the ones we've been discussing today. And Reggie is not like the craziest physically, but I mean, he gets Max Elephant dropped on him and he's able to fight after. Megami seems to hold him in like relatively high regard in terms of physical ability. And then you just, oh, let me throw a couple of trucks at you. And then, worst case scenario, a fucking house. I don't know. Carolina Reaper strikes me as like very, I don't know. The relative featless nature of it makes it kind of tough for me to say he wins. In all honesty,
I think the best we've got is him like filling one of the exhibition rooms with like whatever fire he's like breathing out of his mouth, and then he's got like the heat gun or whatever that he's using against Amane. Which sure, like that'd probably be a problem for Reggie Star to deal with. Like I don't even know if if durability would really matter in that kind of situation when you have like a weapon like that. But like, I mean, this is a character that isn't smart enough to like get out of the way when the floor literally just like cartoonishly just like gets cut in a hole underneath him, and then he literally gets turned to pieces by Osaragi in an instant. So I just don't think. And again, the fact that like he's swinging with Amane of all people, and not instantly killing him like something like Kumanomi or like someone like Haruma probably would have. Yeah, he definitely strikes me as one of the weakest members of like Slur's gang. So Reggie has just way more at his disposal of receipts that he can pull from. Like you said, get a house dropped on you, summon 3 different Mack trucks at you. Like eventually, I think Carolina Reaper is going to meet his end. It's just of all people to go up against for both
Reggie.
characters. I think honestly.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we can get Reggie off of that. Carolina Reaper will fight again. Let's see what we can do here. Who's next?
Let's see.
Okay, we've got okay, I think that's gonna be another JJK win. We got Shin versus Choso.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, the power fist is cool and all, but I don't know if that's like the one shot factor that he needs.
Yeah,
just as pretty,
and it takes so much of his energy away. He can only use it like once or twice, I'm pretty sure, in the fight, and then he's just out.
Yeah, it fucks up his hand pretty bad. Yeah, no, I think this is a pretty clear cut JJK win. The mind reading is cool and all. Like it allow him to dodge like piercing blood and shit for a while. He should still be faster on account of like the mind reading, and then precog. Maybe he gets a good power fist hit in off of like his new ability, like his like I don't know, like mental suggestions or whatever, right?
And at best, that power glove is like maybe most generously you could say it's like equivalent, like, probably lower than a Yuji punch. And Choso's taken like 3 or 4 of those even at Shibuya level.
Yeah, no, for sure. He definitely like he's going to need a lot more than I think what he has currently to deal with someone like Choso, and I just don't think that I don't think that Shin has the finishing power to do so. And like I said, I don't necessarily even think that Shin has trouble avoiding Choso for the most part, because like someone said like Supernova, but it's like he'll just see that, he'll see the future. But it's more so that I think Shin kind of cooks himself, right? He uses his precog until he runs out of stamina, and then he uses his power fist until he runs out of stamina. And if Choso doesn't even really have to do much, right? He like he just lets Shin fight him until he exhausts all of his abilities, which is kind of the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Where it's like, where Shin probably will step in and be like, "Oh, I can dodge all of his attacks. I can do everything." It's just one of those things where Choso will just clearly be able to outlast Shin. Shin doesn't hit hard enough to do any damage to Choso. The fact that even if he is able to use the power glove and you're able to give him that attack potency, he can't even hit Choso the amount of times that would be necessary to do real damage to him. It's just a mismatch entirely. Unfortunately, Shin ended up just getting too strong of a character. Like if this was like
Yeah.
Kamo Noritoshi blood manipulation.
Oh, yeah, no, we're having a different conversation. But yeah, Choso's pretty resilient. Even if the power fist was like a fucking black flash, it's like, all right, man, I'll heal that, and I will return you with some blood. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, we just convinced someone to read Sakamoto Days. They said, first of all, thank you to everyone who donated, by the way. But yeah, Aaron Yeager said he's gonna start reading Sakamoto Days now.
Hey, you love to see it. Hope you enjoy, man. Hope you enjoy.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, we'll spin this wheel again. We're slowly running out of people here, and it seems like JJK is really starting to gain a strong lead here. Okay, this is a little bit more of a reasonable matchup. Shin actually stays on the board. He came up again. He's going up against Inumaki. How does Shin deal with cursed speech?
Inumaki might just suffer from a blitz power fist. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Inumaki's really okay. Hold on. Let me try to be fair to Inumaki real quick. I'm trying to think. Because here's my mentality with Shin is like he's particularly well equipped to deal with curse speech because he would just read Inumaki's intent, if that makes sense. Like, oh, this guy wants to put me to sleep. Let me not let him do that. Then I think Shin just kind of uses that general that higher Sakamoto Days speed. Because even if you said Shin's slower than your average Sakamoto Days character, that's fair. Inumaki's definitely slower than your average JJK character, and that still kind of we still arrive at a very similar conclusion in which Shin is faster than Inumaki. Does Inumaki have any durability feats?
Honestly, Inumaki is like, I think canonically cooked himself almost every single time. I don't think I don't think I've ever seen him take a hit once.
Shin literally just sees the future, and then okay, even if you say he doesn't start like that, which Shin very often does, he likes to fucking spam that ability now that he's got it, which understandable. If I had precog to that degree, shit would definitely be getting used every fight. But if you look at the way both of them actually fight in character, right? Because if you remove character, Shin just speed blitz power fist, Inumaki dies or whatever, right? But if you look at them in character, Inumaki's kind of a dumbass. Like, he doesn't just tell people to go to sleep, right? He's like, blow away or get crushed or blast off. And it's like, hey man, you better fucking kill that guy. Which, once again, I don't really know if, like, even his cursed speech is kind of ambiguous in terms of effect.
The tough thing is like, so I guess I guess something that I'm thinking of, for example, well, one thing that I have to say for Shin is like, hold on, let me back up. So for Inumaki in general, I think the tough thing with cursed speech is like, we've seen cursed speech even like do very almost lethal damage to like characters like Suguru Geto. So I guess it depends on like how you think, like if Inumaki did go out of the gate with like a get crushed, like, and Shin becomes flattened, like I don't know if Shin's gonna be able to do anything about that. But like also at the same time, like you said, Shin's got the precognition to know that's coming, and if Shin has the precognition as well as the mind reading to understand what's about to come, and Shin is also at the very least, like I think if we're gonna give at the very lowest estimation of speed, I think to be able to like catch a bullet or like be anywhere near that, you have to be like Mach 6, Mach 7 at the lowest. That's like 6-7 times the speed of sound. Shin can just be like, oh shit, he's about to say something. power glove
cover your
to
ears,
the fucking
like,
face, or cover your ears,
fucking
literally.
Like it's like, oh, his thing works off of like that's kind of the big problem. Let's say you take any other Sakamoto Days character who does not know that this guy opening his mouth is a problem. Shin does, right? So I kind of just see it as like a motherfucker that he reads his mind. Okay, I'm gonna use cursed speech. Speech, huh? Let me cover my ears real quick, right? Or like, let me just use my superior speed and like cook him. You know what I mean? And that's like you don't even have to take into account Shin's new ability, right? You don't even have to like really incorporate it all that much. I just think with the way Shin fights, with like especially with the not even just the mind reading, but going beyond that into the future sight bullshit, it's just like, yeah, he's fighting like he's physically superior to Inumaki, obviously, right? The only thing in question is does he hit him before cursed speech lands? And I'm like, he is the person most primed to do that out of anybody, I feel like. And then I think, like I said, he doesn't even use like, even when he's ready to like leave the fight against Hanami, he's like blast away. Okay, cool, fine. It didn't hurt Hanami. Hanami's durable, sure, but it still leaves us kind of confused. Even with Geto, when he hits him with Get Crushed, Geto kind of just comes like, and once again, it's not to say Geto's weak or that like not hurting him is an anti-feat, but it's just more to say Geto kind of just leaves the ground and is like, okay, I'm gonna kill you guys now. Right? So in a lot of the instances where he isn't just saying like sleep or saying some shit to a curse that we don't know the scaling of, his attacks are pretty ambiguous, right? So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely probably say in this instance against Inumaki of all people, Shin probably is able to take the win. Liv makes a good point. What if Shin reads Inumaki's get crushed before he says it and gets crushed just by proxy of reading the intention?
Jesus, some fucking Inception curse speech.
He actually ends up he ends up hearing the cursed speech before it happens, and that's the trigger. He goes, "Oh shit!" Shin cooks himself. He takes a page out of Inumaki's book. But no, yeah, I think Shin overall wins because I think it's like the curse energy and everything that's spoken through the Snake and Fangs mark and everything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, even here's the thing: someone without precog that saw the Snake and Fangs symbol on Yuta, like Uro, thinks to cover her ears. She just doesn't do it fast enough, right? Give her a half second of precog. Yeah, I have a feeling she's gonna cover her ears, and also make her physically like more prone to react like that. Yeah, no, I think covering the ears is gonna be a decent strat. Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, Shin gets that W for sure. All right, so we get another W for Sakamoto Days. Up next,
and instantly getting the run back. Good for you, brother.
Yeah, for real, right? Coming right back up out of the gates. We've got Kanagori versus Ino Takuma, which I'm assuming we're giving that to Kanagori again.
Wait, who versus
Kanagori versus Ino?
Oh Jesus, yeah. Let's go ahead and give him that win. Let's go and give him that win. Yeah, I need high density laser versus Ino. Oh nah.
Exactly. Speed blitz, high density laser. Ino has no durability. He's got no feats. It's nope. That's an L, unfortunately.
Hey man. Yeah.
Ino's a liability right now for this entire randomizer.
The movie about like, an understudy of a sorcerer trying to live up to his name. I mean, hey man, that's a sick movie, bro. We gonna remember you. Rest in peace, Ino, for real.
But there's no sequel.
Yeah, no sequel. This is a standalone film. But yeah, that's it. That's actually it. Hey, bro, rest in peace.
All right, so that takes Kanagori off the list. That ties it up again. Ino gets his. Oh, okay. Ino gets his run back, same as Shin. Against Lou.
Oh, Ino, I feel like Ino W. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Lou is so.
I feel like this is like the most even matchup he could have gotten, honestly.
Yeah, I think probably. I would say then wins, honestly, because I'm thinking 7-3 blade imbued with the technique. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Sukuna took no damage, but Sukuna's like, damn, bro, that did a little bit harder than I thought. My feet broke the concrete. Type of deal. Um, Ryu, I mean, no one's seen it and lived to tell the tale. You know what I mean? Besides Sukuna, I guess, and that could change if Sukuna loses. So I don't fucking know. Um, like,
I think the
like I think,
auspicious beasts
yeah.
are what probably give the win con. Like I feel like even if with Mr. No Feats even if we were to, let's say, like, okay, because we have no feats for pretty much either of them, we can give them
Mhm,
equalized stats. Well, obviously Lou would probably be faster. I take that
mhm.
back.
But Still has that natural like durability advantage, blah blah blah,
Exactly.
and he also has the pain killing aspect to his thing. I think he wins. I think wins.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
I think he manages to come out on top, but like this is the craziest thing because this is like yeah, it's actually crazy how close is to Lou of all people.
yeah,
I don't know, but okay.
yeah.
So
Hey, man, a win's a win, right?
yeah, exactly. A win's a win for when your name is Takuma, I guess. Alrighty, let's see. We've got oh my god, what's with the runbacks? No, okay. Carolina Reaper versus Nobara Kugasaki.
What? Okay.
This is an
I
interesting one.
Yeah, because it's like, damn. Hmm. This is really weird.
Speechless.
I feel like Nobara has to win that. Like,
Mm,
okay,
it's just
I don't
tough.
know.
So like Nobara loses out on speed, but Nobara should win on attack power and durability, I would hope.
And
Well,
her hacks are pretty good. Like, if we're kind of going with the thought process that like Carolina Reaper's a dumbass, which Fuller getting cut up, blah 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 blah, you know, idiot type shit. Um, then I don't know. Maybe she could pull kind of like what she did with Mahito, like with those delayed activations of hairpin, like blasting up the battlefield a little bit. I don't know, because I feel like with Nobara, she really just needs any resonance, right, at all. I think it cooks him, like he's just done. Hairpin honestly probably does pretty similar stuff.
yeah,
It's like,
the
do you
hairpin
think?
explosion is
Yeah,
definitely swinging way above whatever Carolina Reaper's surviving.
yeah. Um,
She kind of just has to really play keep away, and like if she could look, which is tough, she's losing out on speed. But like, I mean, like the nails are able to do significant damage, and Carolina
yeah.
Reaper doesn't have too many, combat feats. I mean, he's able to dust people, the JAA assassins in the exhibition during the am I even saying
Yeah,
that right? Exhibition, is that what they fucking call it? Exhibit. Then I'm
yeah, yeah,
confusing
yeah.
the words. But either way,
Yeah, like randoms. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like, yeah, that's about that's about it. This is a really weird fight. Like, people keep mentioning soul damage. Soul damage is not the point. I think me and Noah both agree. If Nabar hits him once, he's like, even if he's not dead, the fight's over in terms of like difficulty. But it's like
Nobara does
Nobar, you can,
have the feat of of being able to tank Kechizu and Esso's blood decay. I don't know how strong you would put that on level of like Sakamoto Days, but Nobara is canonically able to like fight through pain, like fight through
yeah,
whatever's happening. And Carolina Reaper again doesn't really have too many high attack feats. You could say he's got like the searing flame gun, which would probably hurt anyone,
yeah,
but if Nobara
yeah,
is like able to, like, let's say he can't just like you know, I don't know. I mean, hmm,
yeah. Okay, I'm trying to
endure that
think.
enough just to like land a resonance on him, and then whatever he, does to her, he has to also feel.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, like, I feel like Nobar would probably get a win because fighting against, I don't know. The speed is kind of the issue because
yeah,
obviously Sakamoto Day character stuff. And then if he brings out that laser shit, she's probably just gonna get cut and like you might be cooked, Nobara, at that point. But let me see. Yeah, no, Nobara might be yeah, no.
If they
Nobara
go,
might
I think if they square up from the start, I think like if depending on Carolina Reaper's bloodlust, it could be like you said because with the speed advantage and whatever heat gun, whatever the correct terminology is for it, like if he just goes for her head and that just goes
yeah.
right through her skull, she's not surviving that. Like again, like I feel like the heat gun would just ignore durability. It's literally like for average humans at the level we're talking
Yeah.
about, we're not talking about like
And even
dimensional superhuman beings.
yeah, and I mean even just like that laser sword shit he has, just like cutting her anywhere, like Nobara has a good pain resistance, but I mean she's not Yuji, right? Pain will stop Nobara Kugasaki. You know what I mean? Like so I kind of feel like Carolina Reaper might win, probably. Weird as hell as that is to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Nobara, you need to get your get back somehow, but I don't know, man. If you lost to Carolina Reaper, that might nice. Okay.
Carolina Reaper is it canonically just gets all of his W's off children, which okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Take him if you need him, I guess, bro. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we're 6-6. That actually tied it up.
I bet
This
it
is
did.
and we keep. How did we get back here? This is crazy. All right,
Hmm.
we're running out of people here. Oh, okay. Kamihate versus Toge Inumaki.
Oh wow, I wonder. I don't even know. Listen, man. At the range Kamihate's fighting at, I don't even know if her speech is like useful. So
That's what
like,
I mean. I just feel like
yeah,
I mean, if they're right in front of each other, sure. I guess you could
Yeah.
say, but even then, I feel like Kamihate could just like hit fire, and like it depends on how much damage Inumaki does with the cursed speech. Again, like it's, I would probably say Kamihate has the higher percentage, honestly, but
yeah, no, for sure. Like just
well, shit.
night boom.
Inumaki is the liability too. God damn.
Inumaki is definitely bringing things down. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
We got we got 20 minutes left. Okay, yeah, let's see if we could run through these. I can't believe Osaragi and Gaku have not come up once. Gaku finally just showed up. Against Toto of all people.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean Toto. I mean you got Boogie Woogie, which is convenient, and I mean if we're talking Vibra Slap, you know. Toto, that no matter how fast Gaku's not even going to be able to perceive the 50 snaps a second. It's just there's just absolutely no way. So Toto definitely does have some kind of an advantage with Boogie Woogie, I feel like. And unless you disagree, but I feel like the Vibra Slap Boogie Woogie is tough. I think I don't know I don't know, someone could probably fact check my math and tell me that I'm wrong because there's no distance involved, unfortunately, but 50 snaps a second, I think we estimated it like you would need bare minimum sub-relativistic speed to even perceive what the fuck is going on in the roulette switch. So no matter how fast they are, Gaku's not knowing what's going on.
He's gonna have some trouble. The big problem for Toto in my mind is just that he's not, especially with the one hand he has now, he's not really the damage dealer that I feel like he would need to be for Gaku. Gaku is a motherfucker that will not go down unless you beat the piss out of him. Like you gotta really wear him down, in all honesty. And Toto, in his re-debut, kicks Sukuna all of one time, right? Doesn't really do anything notable. Like he's very useful in 2v1s, right? And while he's not weak, like I would never say that Toto's like physically weak. It's just a matter of like Gaku having trouble hitting him, even with the speed difference maybe, and then Toto kind of having a problem dealing damage.
Do you think Black Flash is a win con against Gaku?
Yeah, Black Flash probably kills him, or at least like damages him enough to where Toto can do more damage reliably. But I guess my big thing is just it's just like, how should I put this?
I mean, Gaku is canonically swinging with Takamura of all people. So like Gaku is like
and it also depends.
Insanely durable. He's lost limbs, and that doesn't stop him from fighting multiple occasions. He survived the battle with Nagumo and was basically dead and came back to life. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that was because Kashima gave him the life-saving, whatever surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and my thing too is like, we say 50 snaps per second and we say all this and that, and that's fair. That's definitely possible for his technique. But there's only so many ways Toto can attack, even using Boogie Woogie in a 1v1, right? If there are no crows, if there's no Yuji, right? Sure, Toto can imbue parts of his environment with rocks and stuff like that, right? But Boogie Woogie is a technique that does become like exponentially more or less useful depending on the amount of things in your environment that contain cursed energy. Whereas with Sukuna, it's pretty impossible to determine where that next move is going to be for the most part. I just wonder if, like, in a 1v1 setting where Toto really can only be swapping with Gaku or not swapping with Gaku, right? How much easier is it to time those counters? You know what I mean?
The problem for me is like when you say that like Toto is able to imbue like objects in the environment with his cursed energy. Like realistically, Toto does only need like a pebble to like toss that up into the air, and then he can immediately start the the roulette spinning. Like that's what I think is like tough. Like, you know what I mean? Because like you said, like if it is just Gaku and Toto and there's nothing else to switch and they're in like an empty fucking room, then yeah, I don't think Toto is gonna be able to switch him and Gaku enough. There's only so many times, there's only so many places that can go down. But like
that's kind of what I'm getting at.
If you can add the third object in there, then that's where it becomes a problem. But also you have Gaku who's fast enough to potentially, like speed blitz Toto before the Boogie Woogie even occurs. The issue is Gaku able to provide enough, physical damage to Toto off rip? Because Toto would probably swing higher durability wise. I mean, Toto is able to take I get this is all the way back in exchange event Yuji, but still able to take a fully curse energy charged punch from Yuji to the dome and just shrugs it off, no problem. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's definitely Gaku's definitely not turning this fight around with like one or two attacks. Yeah, it's tough. It's probably a higher diff fight. The only thing, the only thing I guess is like, it's in my mind it's Boogie Woogie equalizes things a lot in Toto's favor, more so than like gives them a very obvious advantage. Like I view it as a pretty high diff fight, if only because Toto very rarely uses Boogie Woogie against people that at that point in time he can't already react to, if that makes sense. Like versus Hanami, he's pretty relative in the speed department, like he's able to just block attacks normally. Versus Maito, it's pretty much the same deal. And versus the version of Sukuna we're at right now, you know what I mean? Half of his arm's gone, all the damage, blah blah blah. And Yuji, it's interesting. It's an interesting fight, but I do think Toto can take a win. I don't think that's absurd.
It's tough because like I do agree with you in a sense that like Toto is just like severely limited in the kind of like killing potential that he has, because he does only just have the one arm. He's probably not going to be able to throw punches hard enough to just take out the smoke demon formerly known as Gaku. I don't see that. I do see, like I agree with you with Black Flash would probably be enough to probably take it out, just because the power of 2.5 to Jujutsu Kaisen's already higher attack scaling is just hard for Gaku to come back from. It's just, I don't know. It is. I agree with you where like I think Toto probably loses in a sense that he's mostly just a support class character as of right now. But it also doesn't. It's also I can't think of the phrase. It's not lost on me that Toto probably could get a win in if he needed to. I just don't know where those percentages actually sit. I just don't. I don't. I see people in chat saying Toto would probably win. I see people in chat saying, "Oh, he can imbue Gaku's hammer with the curse energy and take away Gaku's hammer." I personally believe Gaku could barehanded box with Toto. I don't think that would be a problem.
Yeah. I also just think it's funny just like thinking of Gaku letting Toto grab it and imbue it with cursed energy and be like, here you
Yes,
go.
I was just
Use
gonna
this,
say
use
that.
my weapon.
Like
It's like,
I
okay.
think even the scenario that I imprinted where Toto can like grab a rock and imbue it with curse energy and then start the roulette swap, like even that, like Gaku's gonna be Gaku's gonna use his speed advantage to like literally just appear in front of Toto and be like, what you doing, bro? And
Hmm.
immediately smack him away. It's something that Toto would have to do on the back foot. Like it would have to be a quick second. I'm fucking Gaku just knocked me into the fucking dirt, and I have 2 seconds before he hits me again to grab this rock and start the I think Toto is on the back foot most of the fight, even though the Vibra slap is like is just a problem for really anybody that isn't like a
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z character at this point. But it's yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you think percentage wise has the higher percentage. You can speak freely. Like
Yeah. I think it's fine to say Toto if you just say Boogie Woogie makes what is normally a pretty massive speed advantage less noticeable, and he has higher durability and attack potency. That's fine. That's not absurd. I think it's maybe harder than a lot of people probably in chat give it credit for, but regardless, I think it's fine to say Toto wins more often than not, or he just like he would be the favored fighter here. That's not absurd to say.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I lose Gaku twice in 1 month. Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's make this the last matchup because I know you got to go soon. So let's see if we can get a really good one. We've got Itadori Yuji. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Damn, I was kind of hoping we'd get Osaragi just so she shows up at least once. But we got Kindaka.
Indaka. Well, I mean, it's gotta be Yuji, right? Like Kendaka's just not gonna do anything. Kendaka speed blitzes, blah blah blah. We kind of talked about this a lot with Kendaka, where
and
it's like
Toji. I feel like it's very similar to his fight with
Yeah.
Toji. Yuji just is just too strong. Like he can
Yeah.
literally just like if Kendaka's speeding past him, Yuji can just grab him, throw Kendaka's back out, and he's not taking
or just
Mr. Black Flash. You know,
Kendaka might just hurt himself. Like same shit with Toji. Like, yeah, bro, you run into a brick wall at the speed of sound. Like, hey man, I guess that's cool, but like you ran into a brick wall at the speed of sound, brother. I don't know what you expected. I think any punch from Yuji also like cooks him. If Yuji also is comfortable using dismantle and cleave as well, we don't know. He's only used it once, right? So we can't say for like his usage rate, but potentially, and even though it's not as potent as Sukuna's, I mean, just invisible slashes that Kendaka can't dodge, piercing blood manipulation in general to help his RCT, crazy durability. I mean, I just don't think Kendaka really has hope in beating Yuji. Speed blitzes, blah blah blah. That's fine, but what is he? How are you gonna finish the fight? You know what I mean? How are you gonna do something about it?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So okay. So and I guess just so we can say that Osaragi did show up. Let's say that it actually went to Osaragi. Is the difference any different, like between Osaragi and Yuji?
I'm trying to think. No, I think she has better attack potency, but worse speed. She
Yeah.
can maybe slice at Yuji a little bit, but I mean, Yuji is fighting the motherfucker that slices and dices, and he doesn't seem to be all that worried about it. You know what I mean? Parts of his body getting taken off. Who cares? Black Flash. Like the way I kind of look at it is,
He's got
Osaragi kind
reverse
of
curse technique now. What'd you say?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say the way like Osaragi might do that little blitz run pass thing she does, cut part of his stomach or whatever, and it's like, cool, that's fine. Have you considered this? Koksen. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not really it doesn't really strike me as a fight that she'd be privy to winning. So yeah, unfortunately, I do think that Osaragi would find a similar fate as Kendaka against Yuji.
Yeah, and I think everyone on the wheel would probably meet the same end against Yuji as well. Like Lu, well, I don't, well, Gaku is interesting, but yeah, I just think with Yuji as reverse curse technique now, everything that Yuji has now, Yuji's a different breed than when we were having discussions like this like a year ago.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt, Yuji has fully much leveled up to a very problematic sorcerer in matchups like this. Thank God, uh, we can finally start giving him the glaze he deserves. But this was honestly pretty close. Yuji's win did tip it over for Jujutsu Kaisen, just
Mhm.
barely though. It was pretty
Okay.
much like neck and neck, and I'm sure if we kept going, it honestly would probably stay pretty equal. Honestly, actually, honestly, Sakamoto Days might come back and win just because it's kind of unfair at this point with who's left. It's like
Mm.
Nobara, Inumaki, Meimei, and Higuruma versus Gaku, Nagumo, Osaragi. Like it's I I don't know about that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, Sakamoto Days held its own, man. It really did hold its own up here.
for
Um,
sure, for sure. I think if
for
I would
sure.
have added a couple curses and everything like that, things might have changed. But I don't
For
know.
sure. It definitely it 100% changes if you do, but with the we didn't put all scrubs and losers on here, you know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
didn't put the most broken characters in the verse against Sakamoto Days, but I think the verse did pretty well. For a couple of assassins, you know what I mean? I think they did pretty well in holding themselves up. I think it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't like just a one-sided, hey, this character speed blitzes in one shots. This character speed blitzes in one shots. You know what I mean? Like,
A lot of
there
really
there
good
there were
discussions.
yeah, a lot of really good discussions for sure. For sure, for sure.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, that is going to be it, guys. We got Jujutsu Kaisen on the W. For people that were just hanging out and watching that had no idea what the heck we were talking about, this is your chance. Go read Sakamoto Days before the anime comes out. You will not regret it. One of the best ongoing manga, in my honest opinion. Before we call it, do you have any notes, anything specific that you want to? I feel like you kind of got your closing thoughts just out there just now, but
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean that was basically it. I appreciate you having me a lot, man. This is always fun to do. Yeah, I mean Sakamoto Days put up a good fight. JJK just put up a little bit of a better one this stream. But yeah, I appreciate you having me. This was really fun. Chat. It's been fun. It's been fun watching y'all fight over the same matchups we're talking about in this stream. And yeah, it's been good. I appreciate you having me here, man.
no, thank you so much for stopping by. As always, I appreciate you. I wouldn't do it with anyone else. And yeah, no, Sakamoto Days, I honestly surprised me. I thought people were going to be commenting down below talking about another unfair matchup, but you know what? They actually came out pretty well. I'm very proud of them. I wish a couple of my of the surprisingly enough, I feel like our favorite characters from Sakamoto Days, the characters that we would have thought would have done better, are the ones that lost. Like
Yeah, no, for sure. Nagumo taking that early L was devastating. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Gaku losing as well was definitely hurtful. But thank you all so much, guys, for stopping out. I sincerely appreciate every single one of you guys that made it all the way to the end. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and go check out the description and go subscribe to Broken Ronin if you haven't already. Thank you very much for being here. And yeah, guys, I will see you on Friday for more stream for blah, 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 I can't talk for some more stream time. But other than that, guys, yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Peace, peace. Everyone have a good night.